each one of you for being with us. And we are pleased to welcome all our members who have been with us for a long time, and as well as those who are new to the association. We also welcome our media partners and members of the press. And today marks our third annual event for FPME, and we are proud to able to host you all today. I request our President, Sri Kamlesh Bhai, and Vice President Sri Abhay Bhai, and Honorary Secretary Sri Sandeep Bhai to escort our respective dignitaries to the dais.
A huge round of applause for Dr. Pillai, please. And ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to our renowned dignitaries. One more. Before we start with the event, we would like to inform you that due to unavoidable circumstances, Dr. Bhagwat Karad, Minister of State for Finance, Government of India, could not be with us. Nevertheless, he has conveyed his best wishes to FPME on completion of 3 years. Further, we regret to inform you, due to medical emergency in the family, Dr. P.V. Appaji had to cancel his trip to Mumbai. Nevertheless, he has shared his best wishes and thoughts for our annual FPME and has shared a video which we will play during the course of the event. So let us start the event with lighting of the lamp. Lighting the lamp is an auspicious ritual, and I request all the dignitaries, please come forward and light the lamp, please.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिः परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तुते ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्थं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्थं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश्च मतिं स्वच्छां हि मे सदा.
Thank you, gentlemen. We would like to thank our guests and dignitaries for gracing our event from their busy schedule. As a token of appreciation, I request our board member to felicitate our guest. I would request Shri Kamlesh Bhai to felicitate Shri Namit Joshi, Director of Centron Pharmaceuticals and Vice Chairman, Pharmexcel. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Thank you. I would now request Abhay Bhai to please felicitate Shri Sumanta Chaudhary, Advisor, Pharmexcel and Industry Consultant. Before we move to felicitate our next guest of honor, Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai, we would like to acknowledge the presence of Shri C.K.K. Pillai, father of Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai. We also acknowledge the presence of Shri Tushar, I would request Sandeep Bhai to please felicitate Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, author, corporate Chanakya, TEDx speaker, corporate trainer, and I guess the list goes on. We acknowledge the presence of Shri Tushar Korde, COA, Pharmexcel. I now request our President Shri Kamlesh Bhai to address the audience.
FPME की तरफ से मैं आप सबको यहाँ आने के लिए धन्यवाद करता हूँ. मेनली हमारे गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर श्री नमित जोशी जी एंड ऑल अदर डिग्निटीज. थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ग्रेसिंग आवर FPME इवेंट. आज FPME के 3 साल पूरे हुए हैं और हमारे सारे भाई मेंबर लोग के लिए मैं यहाँ आने के लिए धन्यवाद करता हूँ. आशा रखता हूँ आने वाले साल में भी आप सब ऐसे ही FPME को सपोर्ट करते रहेंगे और आगे बढ़ाते रहेंगे. जो हमारी नई मैनेजिंग कमेटी हुई है उसको भी मैं वेलकम करता हूँ. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Thank you, Kamlesh Bhai, for the leadership and being our guiding force. I would now like to welcome, with applause, of our dynamic honorary Joint Secretary, Sheikh Sandeep Bhai Modi, to address the audience.
Welcome everyone, Honorable Namit ji, Sumanta ji, Radha sir, Kamlesh bhai, Abhay bhai and all other my fellow FPME members. Friends, we have come along very fast in last 3-4 years. I still recall my first year annual event which we did in 2020 I think so, 2019. November 2019 was our first event, and after that COVID was there, and last year then we came back strongly in 2022, and this is our event in 2023. So it was really honor to have Dr. Karad, person like Dr. Karad. Dr. Bhagwat Karad is closely associated with pharma industry, trade and industry. As a minister also, we had a very good discussion, and we exchanged few of the mails, and he had confirmed. Unfortunately, due to the meeting in Nagpur called by Nitin Gadkari and Devendra Fadnavis, he had to go to Nagpur today, and he's sending his video message. The idea behind calling Dr. Bhagwat Karad was basically to get our issues presented in front of him as a merchant exporter, and he knows the merchant exporter fraternity very closely because he's a practicing surgeon, and he has very good relationship with the pharma industries. So it was very nice of us. If he would have been here, we would have discussed with him. We are facing many issues with customs, and since he is the Minister of State for Finance at Center, we were expecting to discuss the issues faced by members for customs, for banking charges, for interest equalization scheme not getting to the merchant exporters and everything. So and also it would have opened network for FPME to go to the Delhi level, ministry levels like Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Health. As an exporter, we have to deal with 4 or 5 ministries, right? And Pharmexil is supposed to be in one body which needs to coordinate with all the ministries. But again, Pharmexil is a semi-government body. Again, that's why FPME is here. So if we have to fight, Pharmexil has its own limitations. Even in that limitations, Namit Bhai will help us to, resolve all the matters. Last week we met DGFT, Ministry of Commerce, DGFT, and basically the perception of merchant exporter needs to be, we need to go very strong about it and meet many of the industrial bureaucrats, ministries bureaucrats. And I met DGFT and I explained all about what is the merchant export. We have to start from that level. So that was the idea behind Dr. Bhagwat Karad, to have an ice-breaking kind of thing where, he would have introduced to many other ministries and it would have been easy to us. But nevertheless, he has asked us to, he is sending the video, and just a minute, if you're getting a call from his PA, I think so. Yeah. 1 minute. एक मिनट जस्ट ओके मारा मेल पर just he has sent his link for video. Can you check this? Mail pe. Yeah. You can forward. So he was kind enough to record a video for our event and has sent that mail to us. Dr. Appaji, again, ex-DG Pharmexil, and has worked with many ministries. Not many ministries, but Government of India, NPPA, as well as Ministry of Health. So as a FPME now, we want to go into all those ministries and make our presence marked with them. Because still at bureaucracy, merchant exporter are, perceived as an small-time traders. Even though we met Piyush Goyal ji, and Piyush Goyal also acknowledged with the bureaucrats that we need to look into the issues of the merchant exporters and we need to, be with merchant exporters. That's what the first discussion we had last year. I think Abhay Bhai was there and Piyush Goyal ji had told his secretary to look into our issues. But again, the follow-up is a big challenge with us. Now, I'm happy that we have a full-time administrator in our FPME matters, so we day-to-day follow-ups and all the things can be done regularly. Can you achievements? So just to list out our performance of FPME, what we have achieved in last 3-4 hours. Work with Pharmexil to resolve ban on various molecules in COVID times, from paracetamol to remdesivir and enoxaparin. Then successfully represented MSME Ministry for inclusion merchant exporters as MSME. Do you know that there was no recognition as an MSME for merchant exporters or small-time traders? But fortunately, Nitin Gadkari ji was MSME minister, and then we had a long representation with him. We had continuously followed with him, and we got that. All the small traders, including merchant exporters, got a recognition as a MSME. Last year, I recall our annual event, we were pressing earlier, pharma was not having road tape. I think Tushar Bhai is here. He worked very closely with this. Tushar Bhai is the main man who works for all those things in IDMA as well as Pharmexil. please, we can acknowledge his work for him. You know, he's fighting for all of us to get these things, and with his help, we also represented along with this. And from 15th of December, pharma exporters are now getting RODTEP. We have represented members to custom officials for timely issuance of drawback IGST refunds. Still today, I got one call that one scroll has been rejected at JNPT, and due to that, many of the GST refunds have been stuck. So we are representing that next week. Today again, I got a call of export being stuck at customs due to custom clearance. There are some issues still there. Still, there is no guidelines clarity between there. And today again, I had to call the additional commissioner, and he is looking into it so that our members get, their custom issues resolved. Again, we successfully represented Ministry of Finance for CBIC to implement single port registration. That was one of our major, as a ease of doing business. For every port, we have to do separate port registration. Now, if I had been registered with Mumbai port and I have an urgent shipment from Chennai or from Delhi, the logistic is a challenge. So, we have to make a new registration at every port. We represented that with the help of Pharmexil and IDMA and all other members of this. Government, CBIC last year implemented single port registration. So, Namit bhai, India is pharmacy to world, where merchant exporter have played very important role. We cannot neglect the merchant exporters' role. They are supplying to the smallest of the patient to the largest of the quantities as the contract CM also. Now, we need to, as a merchant exporter, we should not also rely only on government policies and everything. We have to learn and develop ourselves also. So today, the main thing is, today we have Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai here. The main theme here is, again, Sumanta Chaudhary sir is there. Namit bhai also, when I was discussing with him. The main thing, along with these government issues, let us evolve ourselves and grow together, develop ourselves. Self-development as a MSME, we need to develop to the next level. I am happy one of our member who shared on our B2B group achieved 100 crores business, and I think that was one milestone. And I wish many of our members to join that club. But that joining that club is not, passion doesn't drive that. Passion can bring you up to 10, 50 crores, 10, 25 crores. You need systems and processes, you need vision, you need guidance, you need mentorship. And FPME now is focusing on building that kind of platform to our members. See, we are here, trade resolution वो तो चलता रहेगा, लेकिन डेवलपमेंट जब तक नहीं होगी तब तक आगे हम नहीं बढ़ेंगे. जब तक 100 करोड़ वाले 50 मेंबर्स अपने पास नहीं डेवलप होंगे तब तक अपना डंका भी नहीं बजेगा गवर्नमेंट के पास. I mean, that's the motto here. We need more members in 100 crore clubs for that platform building, and that's why I'm glad here Sumanta ji is here, Radha sir is there, and Namit Joshi is there. They will guide us in that direction today. Now, today actually I was surfing on what to talk about, and very interesting point which I came across, I didn't got any chance to study, but then 3D printing. Now, that is a new thing, personalized drug development. I mean, in cancer, I have seen that doctors now personalized DNA-based medication has been developed. And for that, no big batch size requires. So 3D printing can play an important role. So even though merchant exporters at many small, whatever size he has, if he invests into it and studies about it and gets that technology or evolve something in such a way that the 3D printing and can deliver to the patients or something kind of thing internationally, as a pharmacy to the world, merchant exporter can play that role very importantly. So again, we have to think about it. I mean, we need again one session, like Dr. Piyush Gupta is also here. He can, give one article in our bulletin for 3D printing. So let's brainstorm such kind of things, how we can grow together. So today, if India has achieved 24 billion dollars export from pharma, the base for that was merchant exporters. Around 35% of that is contributed by merchant exporters, and we are proud about it, right? So, again, going ahead, FPME is committed to provide its member for platform for innovation and growth, vis-a-vis assisting them to resolve operational issues representing to various government organizations. On behalf of this podium, I'm committing on behalf of our managing committee and board of directors that we are there with you. Please feel free, as today Dr. Anthony is here. He is also from research background. I think he can also contribute in one of the articles for our bulletin and tell us how we can grow in that 3D printing kind of thing, or AI and whatever new things are coming. So this brainstorming will definitely help us. Coming ahead, again, there are certain demands which I need to put. We have already put to Bhagwat Karadji, but Namit you can also take this as a COA member. Tushar Bhai also, you can take this. Banking charges are really, with the margins being there, and road tape is now very minimal. Drawback is also minimal. They are not revising the rates of drawback and road tape. But banking charges are unequal. Every bank has their own cells. So can we make a joint representation to Indian Banking Association, IBA? Because they are which, they define the policies of bank. RBI doesn't define it. So we should go to the IBA and tell them that for exporters, every bank should have a common charges. And that should be minimal. Because for every document processed, bank charges some amount plus GST, some amount plus GST. So that we should work together, Namit Bhai. So interest equalization scheme is not being allowed to merchant exporters. I had represented with Piyush Goyal ji for this, and we had a discussion, question answer sessions. He answered my question in saying that there is a chance that the manufacturer is also utilizing that interest equalization and merchant exporter is also utilizing. I think this is not possible. I don't know who represented that, but in that question and answer session, I cannot debate onto it. But we had already sent the representation, but we need to follow it up. ECGC charges still are very high. And many countries, ECGC, last moment they changed the category of the country. I don't know what's the process they have, but then that is ultimately to be, we should represent and see that it should be reduced. One of our member last year suggested, when I said that government should give us that instead of road tape, they should pay ECGC on our behalf. Sir, again, with Parmexil, Namit Bhai, an MAI scheme, again, it's very tough job. We are fighting, and I don't know how successful, because that MAI scheme is not benefiting to our members, The pros and cons and the conditions what they have put into it, we are not able to get the benefit of it. Many people seeing all the process and things, myself, I am not applying also for that. कौन इतना सब करेगा? जब तक वो कर दे तब तक वो विंडो चला जाता है. Then we were discussing, there are few things which have come up in last 6 months, and there are many questions being raised about Indian exporters. So there should be solution. The track and trace is not a solution for it. So we are also being representing about the track and trace, the way it is implemented, it should not be implemented, right? And track and trace and quality should not be, correlated. They both are different issues and should be handled differently. But sir, for quality as an conscious exporter, if Government of India strengthens its quality labs and makes some sample assessment, risk assessment basis samples withdrawing and taking the analysis before exports, it will help a lot. Other than third-party labs comes and their cost adds, why can't we do voluntarily on our own basis and strengthen our own quality systems? If that is the case, then I mean कि नाम खराब होने से पहले ही अपने को पता चल जाता है क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं, and that will give a confidence to the importer also. Yes, it's being tested and everything. So we should focus on that also. Again, Sumantai ji is here as a Pharmexil. Still, our major demand is the regulatory period. I mean, registration process 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I mean, the startup in the pharma export, they all, get exhausted with all these things. With minimum timeline of 2 years, 3 years, no startup will survive in this. So we need to represent this to the External Affairs Ministry rather, and see that in free trade agreement how this can be, resolved. And lastly, and one of the major issues which we are pressing is accepting Indian pharmacopoeia. Making Indian pharmacopoeia worldwide. So these are all things which we are working on it. So with this, I think I have done lots of things. Now let's Namit Bhai and Sumanta ji and Radha sir, we are here to listen Radha sir because I have personally attended his session and I have personally been benefited. So half an hour of his session will really very insightful and it will clear our thoughts about our development of our organization. That is very important. So I am just thanking you everyone for coming here and sitting patiently and listening me. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep Bhai, for that wonderful, insightful speech that covered not only innovation, but also certain strategic and operational aspects that are impacting the industry. And I'm sure all the dignitaries in their speech will provide much more solutions and thoughts on how we can move forward. No event is possible without support of our sponsors. And I would now request Honorary Joint Secretary, FPME, to invite and felicitate Shri Nikhil Mutiwala, Indocos Forwarding, commitment to excellence at this FPME annual event 22-23. Yeah. Thank you, sir. With a big round of applause, please. Thank you, sir. This event is very important for all of us, and thank you for your support. The next speaker, now as we get into the other parts of the event where we have respected dignitaries, I would like to have a big round of applause for our speaker, Shri Namit Joshi, Director, Centrion Pharmaceuticals and Vice Chairman, Pharmexil. Thank you, sir. First, I would like to take a few minutes for your introduction. He's a seasoned professional in the pharma industry, currently serving as Commercial Director at Centrion Pharmaceuticals. It's a global multinational company based at India and various other locations. He holds position of Vice Chairman at Pharmexil, where he works to promote Indian pharma exports as we move to a 5 trillion economy with a 3 trillion exports by 2030. That's a big responsibility, and all of us have to work together to achieve that goal. He has over 2 decades of experience in pharma sector with experience in areas such as marketing, sales, business development, and worked in top-tier companies like Guardian Lifecare, LG Life Sciences, Nicholas, Boehringer Ingelheim, and before joining Centrion in 2018. He's a member of various industry bodies and associations and has been recognized for his contribution to the field with several awards and accolades. And I think we are very much fortunate that he could spare time today, and would like to have some words from you, sir.
Thank you very much for the introduction. To start with, I would like to thank FPME, Kamlesh Bhai, President, Abhay Bhai, and Sandeep ji. I see Tushar Bhai also. It's such a pleasure to meet you here also in this association. A big thank you, and it should not go unrecognized in case I don't recognize the guru of our guru, Corporate Chanakya, Mr. C.K. Pillai. Thank you so much, sir, for coming over here and gracing the occasion. And thank you, the distinguished speakers, Mr. Sumanta Chaudhary and Dr. Pillai, for gracing this occasion. I have not prepared anything on this subject or what to talk. I'm more keen to learn from all of you. And during my management days, it was taught to us that if you are not an empathetic listener, if you don't listen to the pain points or the challenges of the community, you can never be a solution provider to them. So you have to put yourself into the shoes of the people who are facing these heat and challenges, and then only you can represent those challenges further to have a proper resolution of that. So from that context, I would like to start that Farmexil is committed. Had I known Ampaji is not coming, I would have come prepared with the figures. But right now, I'll try to touch upon certain aspects of Farmexil. Farmexil this year, 2022-23 financial year, we clocked an export of 25.39 billion US dollars. So we had a growth of approximately 3%. But this 3% seems to be small right now. But then if you compare this with the 21-22, there was a 986 million export of vaccines from India. That was primarily because of the COVID issue. If you remove that, and we had 16.88 million of export this year, so we had a tremendous growth if just you remove the vaccine part, because that was more of an opportunistic selling in the market, and we are the largest vaccine manufacturer of the world, so that is why it was more on the revenue side. But when you talk about the core profit which comes back to the industry, it is basically the pharmaceutical export, what we do, minus vaccine. I would say it was 25.39, which is 3% growth. And this is remarkable for the industry. Now, how did we achieve this? There are several stakeholders engaged into this, and as rightly pointed out by Sandeep Bhai also, there is a very important contribution coming up from the merchant exports. And when I was hearing him in the other room, I was duly informed that how we have traveled from being a pure distributor to having our own brands in the market, and now hiring the contract manufacturers in India, and then launching these products outside India, exporting these products outside India. Now, this is a very I would say, a progressive move. Otherwise, the industry or the segment will become very redundant. You have to innovate ways of doing business. And if you don't innovate, if you don't progress, I think slowly, like a product cycle, maturity, the growth, maturity and decline, merchant export will also face the same. So constant innovation, constant newer way of working. And as I hear him very clearly that he is also looking on the 3D printing part, AI part, implementation of artificial intelligence, then it will progress to machine learning, deep learning, all these things will keep on coming. And India being the hub of IT, I think the collaboration of all industries with our strength, core strength of IT, I think that would be a game changer for us. We are spending money, a lot of money, in terms of developing our core values and core competencies, and IT is one of them. Now, how to integrate IT with manufacturing, pharmaceutical manufacturing, and how this integration will help the merchant export community has to be always thought through, it has to be understood, it has to be realized, and it has to be exploited for the benefit of growth.
Capacity utilization, huge capacity, and here we are fighting for the drugs.
Exactly.
So there is some portal where the capacity is available and the demand supply kind of thing. That can be also thought of.
So there, you rightly pointed out, actually merchant export, where do you fit in? This community fit in where? There is a demand and there is a supply. Supply comes from manufacturer, demand comes from consumer. There is a wide distance between demand and supply. There's a huge distance. Now, FPME comes into action, you bridge that gap between a supplier and a buyer. And if we remove FPME or the merchant exporters, this gap will widen, continue to widen, because it is very difficult for a manufacturer to also invest his time, money and energy on marketing a product. And that is why the contract manufacturing concept, and we are into generic industry. Till the time we continue to operate in a generic space, we will have to have such type of equilibrium between merchant export, manufacturing and buying. Otherwise, this industry will not be able to grow. In case we move to R&D, in case we move to innovation, I think that would be more of a niche segment for the industry, for the community, where we can charge a good value, we can bring in good value, but you cannot completely rule out the generic industry from where we have evolved or we have emerged and we have come into the mainframe as the pharmacy of the world. If I talk about how we can integrate all the people around, including PharmExcel, I think I am also picking up fine threads because I am a new entrant into PharmExcel, into that position. And for sure, one thing for sure, that I am a very good listener on all aspects of this. Once I understand, then as a representative, we would like to take back all the points and we'll try to push the government and we'll try to make the relevant stakeholders come on the platform. And it's not about the value. When you say 100 crores, 50 crores, 10, it's not at all about the value. It's more about the process and the ethics of doing a business. And we all have to understand one part, that if we tend to get more regulated, we tend to also ethically, it's a cultural issue. If we culturally assume that right now it is not a big gain for us, but as a long term, if we increase our horizon, say from 2 years, 1 year to say 10 years, we will find tremendous opportunities in the market. 25 billion is already there on the table, which is our running business. But is the world ending up at 25 billion? It's like, you can say 700 billion economy, which is opportunity which is India can always easily avail. Now coming back to your point on the niche strategy, 3D printings, and also certain anti-cancer, transplant medications, certain niche products, for that we also need a strong R&D base. And unfortunately, we started from a very generic background, and we are progressing to that. But very interestingly, I was hearing in one of the sessions, what makes India unique for all multinational companies. Why India is one of the most unique nations all across the world for clinical trial. Because in single month, you can find all weathers existing here. Single month. So there would be snowing somewhere, there would be heavy rainfall, there would be extreme summers, and there will be winter somewhere. Now for a clinical trial, a global clinical trial, India can become the hub, and this is how we are progressing. Because if a company wants to launch a product and have to see the efficacy residing with the population of all these 4 seasons, I think the best efficacy can come out when India becomes a part of that clinical research. And that is where we are also emerging very aggressively on that particular front. And that is our core strength. All 4 weathers, single month, nowhere across the world you get it, except India. And that is certain opportunities which are being identified by someone else outside. But then they told us that this is the potential you have, and that is where we can exploit further potential. Now picking up one more point of the export side, I think basic knowledge does not come, or the information does not come only exporting goods. Till the time you reach out to Europe or US and start identifying a product which can also be imported, you will know complete route and the potential of the business development or the molecule which is emerging out of those countries, that you can bring in back, and then you can give that particular technology and say, this particular molecule has a huge potential, not only domestically, but also for exports, if we try to bring it back. And that is where we need to also identify the import routes also, because import route will also give us a lot of information on the export side also. So that balance has to be created. We need to be more innovative in terms of identifying. And talking about PharmExcel, I think there was many points which during initial meet with the Joint Secretary Commerce, your MEI benefits, the window which is very, very like, even when we try to go for a claim, by that time the window is closed. So we are losing sort of substantial money on terms. But the government has assured us, the ministry has assured us, that they are working on this, because this is an objective to support the export, and anything which limits the export will not be welcomed by the government themselves. So we are working on those directions. In terms of Indian pharmacopoeia, we were just having a discussion with Dr. Pillai and Dr. Chaudhary. Till the time we don't harmonize Indian pharmacopoeia with USP and BP, we see that what are those points where we are already conducting this test. Over and above those tests, which are in the certificate of analysis of USP and BP, over and above every test is always welcome, because that is a heavy metal test, suppose we do in amoxicillin. So this is an extra step which we do for IP. So when we compare the products, pharmacopoeial products, we realize that in Indian pharmacopoeia there are many tests which are over and above the British pharmacopoeia and US pharmacopoeia. So we have an edge. But there would be certain crucial tests which we are skipping out in Indian pharmacopoeia. So till the time we don't harmonize and we inculcate or we include all the test protocols and the parameters of USP and BP, Indian pharmacopoeia has a huge potential to be accepted worldwide, provided we harmonize the requirements. Europe, US have been the sort of a considered nations in terms of their quality manufacturing practice, or the QMS, what we call, and slowly people will start looking into India also when they realize that our inbuilt standards are superior or maybe at par with the global regulated bodies standards. So there where we also need to have that harmonization, and there where we are working also extensively. Pharmexil is also working, but then there are challenges in Department of Pharmaceuticals, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Ministry of Commerce. So there are a lot of internal challenges, but then I am not hopeless on this front, because your continuous persuasion drive towards economic well-being.
You take lead, we are with you, sir. Wherever you want to work, come, we'll be there with you.
Yes.
India has a diverse population also.
Yeah.
See, you said 4 weathers, but diverse population.
Yeah. So
And you can have, you can full range, you can do it.
So if you call a pure Indian population, it basically comes out from Dravidians, the South Indian populations. Then Aryans came in, so we started seeing the DNA printing going back to Greece, to Mesopotamia, to Afghanistan, and to all these places. So that makes India very diverse, and I'm very you are very right in saying that, because that is how we evolved. That is how yeah, so see, all of us have that. So Portuguese came in, so you'll find footprints all across. Now, with all this caste, creed, and community system going away, I think our kids are going out studying in US and Europe. They are settling down with maybe a German, or the progeny which will evolve will more be a mixed progeny. Like you can always have a lot of DNA mix up there. So we are also evolving in such a way that we treat now world as our community, one community, and that should dissolve the boundaries. In other words, mohabbatein. Yeah, you can say so. So on many fronts, and there are certain areas where, Sandeep bhai, we have to be patient. I heard you saying that it takes 2 years for a drug registration, or maybe certain countries have a long duration. But then, as we know and understand that for a child to come out of the mother womb, it takes almost 9 months. And you cannot have an expectation that 9 mothers will produce child in 1 month. So let's be very clear on that part of the setup. There are certain basic needs and time zones which are required for a product to get registered, being consumed in the market, and we should not shorten that particular duration, because it is also good for the quality. So a person should always test it.
But then many countries there, they are taking up to 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, you know.
So, yeah, I fully understand. So, when we're talking with SAPRA, South African, the backlog is for 3 to 4 years. They don't have the manpower. Their regulatory bodies are short of manpower. Fortunately, we have enough manpower to cover our domestic demand. See, our domestic demand is at par with the export. So we consume 23 billion worth of medicines and we export 24 billion, 25 billion worth of medicine. We don't create a fiscal deficit. And that is why when you see the import of raw material, the value addition what we make in export is helping us to cover the fiscal deficit of our domestic consumption. And that is a very healthy sign. For any industry, if your domestic is in line or equal to your exports, that is the best scenario, because it's not a best scenario because consumption of pharmaceutical products is never at all a good scenario. Let's also pray for our own happier and healthier times. But then, talking from the business perspective, a balance between export and import is always good and healthy for the economics. It's always healthier economics because you are not, so suppose if COVID would have struck us badly and we would not have been in this position to export, our domestic consumption was enabling the manufacturers to survive and sustain. There are countries who are highly export dependent, they would have all perished. So it takes humongous amount of time, money and energy if you are only export dependent, if you are not domestically oriented also. So I think pharma is very well balanced and your pain points are fully understandable, but then we will have further round of discussion and we will take back your voice through PharmExcel to various forums. I don't have many words to share, but then in case anyone has any questions, query and concern, I'm available in the evening also, so let me know. What best we can do, we'll definitely try to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for understanding us. And we as merchant exporter look forward for your support, guidance, and eventually simplifying the process for us. Thank you again. Before we move on to our next speaker, we have a video message of Shri Dr. Bhagwat Karad. Before we start the video, I would like to introduce him. Dr. Karad is our Minister of State for Finance. Apart from being a minister, he is also a doctor, a surgeon himself. Can we please play the video?
Okay. Namaskar. Today I am happy to attend Export Council meeting which is organized in Mumbai. Although I am attending this meeting via video conferencing, but I am always concerned with the export of the country. I, being a doctor, very much concerned with the export of the medicines and the medical faculty. Today I know the Mr. Sri P.V. Appali, noted author on Sri Radhakrishnan Pillai, PharmExcel Vice Chairman Sri Namit Joshi. All officials and dignitaries are in the conference. As you know, for any country, export is very important. Pharma is a very important business, and India is a big hub for exporting the pharmaceutical medicines. I am doctor, and I am having a small pharmaceutical unit also, and we also export some medicine from our pharmaceutical concern. India has different policies. The policy which is to export in the rupee and the PLI scheme which we have declared is a very important for the export. Government is coming with the different policies to improve the export of the country. I am sure that in this conference all the export problems of the export will be discussed here, and you are going to come to some conclusions. Whatever your conclusions, please share with me. I will see that the positive decisions will be taken from Government of India to improve our export to all other countries. Lastly, although I am unable to attend this conference physically with you, I am a part of your conference and your business. I always give best wishes to everyone for your business, and I am always with you. Thank you very much.
That was really nice of him to give us a video message. Okay, so moving on to our next speaker. He is an industry veteran. Many of us knows him here. With 53 years of experience in the pharmaceutical industry, mostly focused on international market. He is an ex-managing director of EPCA, wherein he has launched several malaria products in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shri Sumanta Chaudhary.
Good evening for the distinguished guests on the dais, the members and my friends. It's a great honor for me to be here with you because it's the first time I see the Federation in the annual event. I heard of it and I've been watching with deep respect that you have been making good strides to bring the merchant exporters together. You are not only doing for yourself, but you are doing a great job for the industry, because such forums only can strengthen our qualities, the plus points that we have, and it can bring export to much, much higher level. I also thank for the good words said about me, Jyotika. And I feel that there are a lot of things to be discussed, understood in the more clearer terms in the coming days so that we can perform better. The issues today in front of the Federation are twofold. One is within the country, with the government, the operational issues, and the day-to-day functional aspects that you are dealing with. The other issue is in the front end with your buyer, the destination country. I'll be talking on the second part, the front end, which was told to me to be an important issue to be discussed here, because there are some gaps, some understandings which lacks clarity. I would like to do it here. Indian pharmaceutical market has grown from strength to strength over a period of time. You all know about it. And it has come not out of the sky because of our inherent strength that we have. The Indian pharmaceutical industry has the advantage of backward integration because we have the API, active pharmaceutical ingredients, strong base. And we also have the support of the huge manufacturing, formulation manufacturing, or 10,500 strong manufacturing base. So we don't have to run around for the support of the manufacturing elements. In Nigeria, I have seen, I was there for quite some time. They started liquid manufacturing bottles, but for the bottle, for the ROPP cap, for the strap, everything had to be imported. And ultimately, the product becomes costlier than the imported ones. So this kind of situation is not there in India. For ages, we are having all this support within the country, and we can get in touch with all these subsidiary ancillary industries to support our main manufacturing units. Also, we have a strong regulatory compliance. US FDA, we have got our 741 as 21 December, up to 21 December. 741 factories approved by US FDA. EU approval, we have got about 743. Just now, Mr. Joshi was saying that we have got huge ANDAs, 4,346 ANDAs already filed till 20th December. And 55% of export are into the regulated market. So we are not behind. We are, in fact, the strength. Eli Lilly, you know how many people are working in the regulatory department in Bombay. 150 people are working in the regulatory department of Eli Lilly. They send the dossiers US and EU market, but the basic work, entire dossier is done here in India because we have that strength. We have the technical, the competence, and it goes flawlessly, and it is as per the requirement of the international standards. So there is no chance of thinking that we are behind or we have got any shortage. We have our weakness. We are strong in our regulatory issues. We are well supported by F&D, and we are well supported by the indigenous plant and machinery equipments, which are many of them are done here. Just recently, 2 weeks back, I was in Philadelphia, USA, CPHI. I saw a Vasai-based company. He is displaying all his equipments, all the sparkler filters, cone blender, octagonal cold blenders, all are done in India, and their main buyers are Germany and USA. So the standards of those manufacturing units, the finished products, are definitely of international standards. And of course, they get a good price out of it. We have also the availability of the trained technicians, which is the strength. In fact, we train our people outside, and it has happened, I would say, as a matter of generations. I mean, our professors and not their professors, they're all here in so many pharmacy colleges. And last but not the least is the affordable price. So with all these, we are definitely strong, and we have reasons to believe that we can not only perform something good, but we can do something better. If you look at, this is how we have become the pharmacy of the world, because we offer quality, we offer quantity, we offer range of products, we offer good price. So this is the result of this last 10, 15 years, 14 years. In 2011, it was only $10.71 billion. Total pharmaceutical. Today, it is just now, Mr. Joshi said, it is $25 billion, which is 3.25% growth. Minus the vaccine, it is certainly remarkable. It has not come overnight. It has come because we have the inherent strength. Now the question comes, where is the fear? Fear is because we have classified ourselves as merchant exporter. We have made ourselves a community ourselves. It should not bind us, it should not put us back that we have something, we are lagging behind. We have got all the strengths that we others have. It is only a question of removing the fear from our mind. There is an uncertainty. When you stand in front of the seashore, you will find there's a vast ocean, and outside the other side of the ocean, what is there we don't know. So that uncertainty is there in mind, and because of the uncertainty, there is a fear that if I put my money, will it come back? Is the buyer good? Is the product market reliable? All this fear will put myself into a negative sense, and therefore I go into a shell. Maybe many people are not coming forward to the way they should come. I want to assure you that out of my about more than 40 years in this international market, there is nothing to fear once you go into the market. You have to go into the market, and you have to interface with them, and then only you will get the confidence, whether it is product or market or agent. So the uncertainty and fear leads to right product, right partner, and right market, if you are right. But if you do not, if you are having a fear in your mind, then definitely you will land up with a wrong partner, wrong market, and wrong product. I have been approached by a manufacturer who is a cosmetic. He came to me thinking that I must be an expert on cosmetics also. He is from, let me name the product, Kesh King. he wants to sell Kesh King in South Africa. I said, you are not in yourself. They shave their head. How do you expect the hair oil to be sold there in that market? Is nothing like it is selling a refrigerator to an Eskimo. You know, the our expectation from the market should be market-based. If we don't go to the market, we'll have this kind of problem. Similarly, the expectation of the buyer also has gone so up. They think that the Indian product must be good in quality, good in packing, good in price. And then finally, it is India. But it is in case of Germany, in case of Italy, Spain, they don't think it like that. But for India, they have made it like that. One lady was standing in Zanzibar when I was getting the visa, said that you are from Indian businessman. I said, I'm Indian, but how do you know I'm a businessman? Anyway, what's your question? She said that I want good products from India with good packing and good quality. I said, madam, what do you want actually? She said, German quality, American packing, Chinese price, made in India. So, so you see the expectation level has gone so up and it has become a challenge for us. So I would like you to assure you that it is not really the fear, it is the intention of going into the market. The first fear that I understand is the regulatory complexity. Yes? Can I have a little water? The first fear is the regulatory, it's getting Thank you, sir. The first fear is the regulatory complexity, because it takes a lot of time. Just now, Sandeep said that how a person can wait for such a long time. Now, in Ivory Coast, 2020 February was the last registration given. In Togo, they don't take more than 5 products at a time. In Senegal, they just don't care to answer your question unless you pay them under the table. And if you give them under the payment, they do everything in life. But if this is the regulatory system and in the process they ask everything under the sun, it becomes very difficult. We tried various methods, various ways to cope up with the requirements. Benin now asks for close part of DMF. Now, the manufacturer of API will never give a DMF to a small buyer. He buys cefixime, maybe a small quantity. He will say, buy 25 kilo pack and give me the price, give me the annual quantity, I'll give you DMF close part. This is not possible. So these are the challenges that we are facing now. And we have to deal with this because everything is not in our hand. They want to slow down the process. Let me tell you frankly, there are European pressures with American pressures to make sure that the regulatory is making a stumbling block for us. It is happening. But even then, they cannot get out of it because Indian products have to be there because of their inherent quality, price, and availability in all ranges. Therefore, I would request you to understand that the regulatory angle and the second part is the investment. We fear that I'm putting so much of money. Will it bring me results? Will the money come? Is the buyer okay? Is he reliable? If I go to ECGC, ECGC will say there is a red alert for this particular buyer, for the buyer, and we don't take guarantee. So you don't take cover, insurance cover, but you are forced to send the product to the country without any assurance of returning back. This is where your alliance, your collaboration with the main right partner is very, very important. This is what I want to say, that if you have the right people in the right market, you will not be disappointed. But mostly, when we land there, an Indian comes to the airport, takes us for dinner and the like, and we collaborate with him. It's not necessary to have Indian partners only. Local partners are also equally good. Chanakya says, with permission of Radha ji, please, Chanakya says, any undertaking that one takes should be with help of advisors who are specialists in that particular. Page 19, permit me to that, okay. Because you have anybody, I don't mean anybody, I mean any particular person who knows this subject, take his help, and then only you will be able to get to the bottom of it. There are two things I want to mention, particularly about selection of product. One is, please avoid anti-malarials. There are too many, artemether lumefantrine, too many chloroquine and all that. Market is flooded, and in some countries even they have banned it. I'm talking about reference to Africa. And you'll find that the return that you expect is not there because price is too low, brands are too many, and even if it is €2 per pack, ultimately you may find he is giving one free for one box. So ultimately it is €1. So you don't know what is the bonus, what is the CIF, and what is your profitability. If you enter into antimalarials, you may have problems because there are too many competitions. Similarly, you should not go with multiple anti-infectives. I have seen people come to me with a lot of suggestions. I have got this brand, azithromycin, cefixime, cefuroxime, all the antibiotics at a time. It doesn't work. If you have to focus with one anti-infective and work on it, and that is much better instead of working with so many anti-infective, because you are exposing yourself to too many competition which you are not ready at the initial stage. So it is always better to stay in a limited focus. I'll come to that, how it is. Similarly, single age group, I have seen many of the, only tablets are being, no importance to the child group. It is 70-30 proportion. If you are taking care of 70% of the market, 30% you are ignoring. You should have an antibiotic, both adult and children, both the dosage form. You cannot have only tablet or only children. So is the case with any other formulation. So ideally, you should have, suggestion, don't take it as gospel truth, an anti-infective, 2 products, adult and child, pain remedy, 2 adult and child, 1 cough remedy, 1 nutritional adult and child, 2 gastro product, maybe PPI and on the antacid side, and 1 should be your own specialty, which you want to promote very strongly, which is your niche product. These form the correct basket, and if you have 10 products, you will have the return from the market, which will take care of the expenses that you make initial phase. But mind you, in one product market, if you go, you will land into problem because the batch size will be smaller. So you should have same set of product in multiple countries, at least 4 to 5. And you have to make your budget accordingly. I think I have been able to make myself clear. To run this show better, if you avail the NMDP, which has been declared just recently, National Medical Device Policy, the regulatory hassles are very less. So you can get a return cash flow. In the meantime, by the time you get your products registered, because product registration will take about 8 months, 24 months time. So when you run that registration process, the gestation period, you can also explore NMDP so that some revenue will keep on, and also you get to know the market in the meantime. I have a specific agenda to take up with also Firm Excel about the registration process. I'll answer what Sandeep Bhai said. It needs a diplomatic representation to each country, and it should be country specific. It is not happening with everybody. Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, they are having ESC. So if you have in one dossier in one of the countries, by mutual recognition, they will accept the dossiers in other countries. So is the case of Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana. But the other parts also have to be taken separately because each country is formulating their own plans. So my suggestion is that we should make country-based diplomatic representation, and it is possible. It is possible, and we should pick up their exact issues with them, and they have responded. In many cases, they have responded. I have tried myself also. In personal level, they responded. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you, Sumanta sir. Very importantly, rightly suggested about the medical device policy. And even we are a pharma, but please understand we are Federation of Pharma and Allied Products. That allied products are all medical devices. So thank you very much for highlighting that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chaudhary. I think what as merchant exporters, normally we feel we already have customers there, and some of us only venture into the marketing and sales space at the actual market. But I think these are the very brief but very insightful topic where some of us will select some markets, some products, and move forward.
I need 1 day, full day. I'll explain at the end. I promise you will get satisfied.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
We promise you.
Give me this chance. Okay.
Okay. So I think this encourages our members to actually go and move up the value chain and to do our own sales and marketing. Some of the members are already doing, but I think this sets up a next phase for our members. I would like now to introduce Dr. Appaji, who's unable to be here, as already mentioned. Dr. Appaji was the founder and director of Pharmexil. He was institutionalized the entire Pharmexil forum for us. In fact, his various thoughts are also still on the Pharmexil website. He was also the director of NPPA, National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, and also he was ex-officer of the Telangana and Hyderabad FDA. There is a small video which he has sent here in spite of this exigency, personal exigency he has had. So I would request the video to be played, please.
Pharmaceutical Merchant Exporters Allied Association members and Modi ji, Rajesh ji and all other dignitaries who are present in today's meeting at Mumbai. My best wishes to you all. I have been invited to attend this program and be present with you and share my ideas with all members today. Modi ji and Rajesh ji have been persuading me for last 2 months to make my presence and to be with you. I promised them and I assured, and I was very keen that I should be there and share my views on pharma exports and also on merchant exports. Unfortunately, due to health issues of madam and also myself not feeling very well, I could not really make it, and today also having some issue at home with madam's health, and it makes me painful to inform you that I could not make my presence there today. But at the same time, I would like to share again with you.
So we must appreciate, in spite of a personal emergency, he did take out time because he feels a lot for our organization as well. Being the guru of the exporting community and all the trade-related issues, he has done a lot of support and building, and as well as nurturing for the farming.
In fact, he was very instrumental in making IFX so popular. I mean, Nipun Jain, Tushar Bhai, they all, when it was in the time of Appaji, IFX was initiated, and it is very successful venture every year.
Yeah, so I think there are too many layers for us, and I'm sure soon when everything becomes all right, we pray for that, he'll be in our presence to give us a special talk on all the aspects. So with that, I would like to now have a big round of applause for our keynote speaker, Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai. a PhD from University of Mumbai, Department of Philosophy, and author of bestseller Corporate Chanakya. And it doesn't end there. He is an author, corporate trainer, management consultant, specializing in teachings of Chanakya, the Indian philosopher, very famous economist who lived in 4th century BCE. His work centers on applying Chanakya's principles to modern business and personal development context, as evidenced from his books Corporate Chanakya, Chanakya in You, Chanakya and the Art of Getting Rich. And I'm sure everybody wants to actually get it from a person, because at least I can say I've not read too much, but today I would actually personally hear him as well. He has conducted training sessions for a wide range of organizations, including Reliance, Infosys, Tata Group. He's also a TEDx speaker, Joe Stock speaker, best-selling author of 17 books, and leadership coach, mentor, researcher. He is guiding PhD students at University of Mumbai and serves as the founder, chief of mentor of Chanakya, Anvishiki, sorry for that. And additionally, he is the director of Chanakya International Institute of Leadership Studies, University of Mumbai, and he is involved in the various national and international leadership projects. Very big round of applause, and let's hear it from the Guru himself.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to listen to all of you. Thank you, Kamlesh Bhai. Thank you to all the members over here who is present and sharing their ideas. I learned a lot from Sumanta sir, Joshi sir, and of course, Abhayji and all. If you look at it, they are having so much experience. Many people confuse me with a medical doctor, Radhakrishnan Pillai. Acha. Hindi में चलेगा थोड़ा बहुत? हाँ, because that is what Sandeep bhai told me. मुझे याद है, I was going in Coimbatore from the airport to a particular place. 1 घंटे का travel था, and the driver started asking me many questions. पेट दर्द हो रहा है, कोई दवाई है क्या? मैं बोला पेट दर्द हो रहा है तो मुझको क्या पूछ रहे हो? Then I realized the play card had Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai. So I'm not a medical doctor, but I learned from doctors and I got very good doctor friends. I like to thank Sandeep ji because I consider him more a brother, because we share an office on the same floor. And there are days when I get stressed out, I go to his office first, वहाँ पे चाय पी के मेरे ऑफिस में जाता हूँ. तो अगर वो मेरे को मेंटर बोलते हैं तो उल्टा बोलता हूँ, आप भी मेरे मेंटर हैं. तो आधा घंटा दिया गया है मेरे को, तो मैं थोड़ा डॉक्टर के लैंग्वेज में पहले डायग्नोसिस करता हूँ. And many of my friends call me a business doctor because I help a lot of businesses to grow. पैसा कमाना है? नहीं कमाना तो let's leave. कमाना है कि बहुत ज़्यादा कमाना है? That's the better answer. So let me do a diagnosis. How many of you have come to this particular hall for the first time? हाथ ऊपर उठाइए ना, आजू बाजू में देखिए. Almost 50%. Thanks to FPME, because आप यहाँ पहली बार आए but last time नहीं आएंगे. Because the beauty of this hall, शायद आपको पता नहीं होगा, that it is Indian Merchant Chamber. और याद रखिए, और merchant exporters. तो हमारा इंडस्ट्री और ये इंडस्ट्री जुड़ा हुआ है. दूसरा, many people don't know that I have launched my book Corporate Chanakya here. And believe me, यहाँ पे जो शुरुआत होती है, यहाँ पे अंत नहीं होती. Yeah, and Mahatma Gandhi has inaugurated this place. और यहाँ पे देखिए, लोग चले गए लेकिन संस्था रह गई. लोग आए चले गए, हम नहीं रहेंगे. We are talking about 3 years plus COVID of FPME. Let me tell you, I want to see the 25th year also being celebrated here. यहाँ पे छोटा फंक्शन करना और बाद में कोई 5-star होटल में 25 साल का बड़ा फंक्शन करना. वो कहते हैं ना, गांव में शादी होती है तो पहले माँ पिताजी का आशीर्वाद लेके जाते हैं. So if you are coming for the first time, let me tell you, your life is going to change from this particular point, because this particular place outside Churchgate Station has seen the test of time. This was the financial capital of India. Remember this? And it still continues. So if you are in Bombay and doing business in Bombay, you are lucky. Not everybody does it, right? So I'm sure listening to Joshi sir and of course Sumanta sir, you got a lot of ideas. Second point in diagnosis. How many of you have been in business for second generation? ठीक है. You want to see a third generation here? More money than yours? How many of you are facing the problem that second generation is not joining you? देखो है मुझे मालूम है प्रॉब्लम. डॉक्टर सबका प्रॉब्लम वही देखता है ना. आप खांसी करो तो पता है पहले वाला पेशेंट को भी खांसी था, I'll tell you, your business challenges will change with time, but how you manage it is very important. So third question before I start my presentation, have you heard about a word called as mentalist? कितने लोगों ने सुना है mentalist? हाँ, थोड़े लोग को पता है, maybe 10% of the crowd. If you don't know, go to YouTube, mentalist. एक सिंपल सा आपको बोलूँगा, mentalist वो होता है जो आपके मन में क्या चल रहा है वो पता चलता है उनको. Mental ना, not mental problem है. So मैं एक छोटा सा 1 मिनट आधा मिनट बोलूँगा कि think about your current business problem right now. आज जो आपके पास जो बिजनेस में प्रॉब्लम है उसके बारे में 1 मिनट के लिए सोचेगा. लिखना है तो लिख दीजिए, मोबाइल में टाइप करना है कर लीजिए. योर बिगेस्ट बिजनेस वरी और प्रॉब्लम. आप छोटे हो बड़े हो, प्रॉब्लम तो होगा ही होगा. इफ somebody is running a multinational company, he also has a problem. If somebody is running a MSME, not SME, small and medium नहीं, micro, small, सबको प्रॉब्लम होता है. तो think about your problem. सोच लिया सबने? And you will be surprised. Chanakya has a solution for that problem. Mentalist है ना? We'll see how. Because every businessman and woman has to create wealth for the nation. Isn't it true? Starting with ourselves. कैसे करना है, क्यों करना है वो बाद में देखेंगे. लेकिन आपका प्रॉब्लम जो है मन में सोचेगा और बाजू में रखिएगा. If you think too much about the problem, it's a problem. We will find solution at the end of it. So what I'm going to do is that I want to tell you, my dear friends, the presentation that I'm going to make is thanks to Sandeep ji. He told me you should speak on Saptanga because this one model which has been applied for thousands of organizations, and believe me, I applied that in my organization also. ऐसा बोलता हूँ दुनिया भर में सिखाते लेकिन खुद के लाइफ में क्या अप्लाई किया. Okay, so I'll tell you, believe me, it will work, and after half an hour, if you have questions, we'll address that. But I'm sure your problems will only start after we go away. And I promise you that I'll be with you throughout your journey to become big and very big. Now what I'm going to share is something which India was the richest part of the world once. बराबर है कि नहीं? हम बोलते हैं सोने की चिड़िया थे. सोने की चिड़िया थे, लेकिन मैंने रिसर्च किया और फाइंड आउट किया क्यों सोने की चिड़िया थे हम लोग. और ऐसे ऐसे नुस्खे मिले हमें. We got so many formulas that I was surprised. We have forgotten it. देखो, अपने देश को appreciate करना, patriotism is very normal for everybody, right? If you are a German, you will be patriotic for that country. बराबर है? If you are Indian, you will be patriotic here also. If you are in South Africa, you will be patriotic about your country also. It's a very natural feeling to be a patriot. But if your country and your culture and tradition is great, what is the reason for it? And let me tell you, I spent 23 years of my life to find out what is that which made India the richest part of the world. And I'm going to share that secret with you. You want to know that? Exactly. And I want to thank my father who always encourages me. हमेशा बोलता मेरे गुरु है वो. He's 88 years old. But he always tells me two things. अगर अध्याय नहीं किया, if you're not studied, you will never understand the subject. I hope all of you study about your business. Or does the CA does that for you? We don't study about our business. How many of you subscribe to industry journals here? One or two. देखो देखो आजू बाजू में देखो. Diagnosis. बिजनेस को ग्रो करना है, लेकिन अध्याय नहीं है. मैं ये नहीं कहता कि ओनली अपना इंडस्ट्री का पढ़ाई करो, लेकिन पढ़ाई करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. बिकॉज फ्रॉम स्टडी कम्स रिसर्च, एंड फ्रॉम रिसर्च कम्स आइडियाज दैट विल ग्रो योर बिजनेस. We'll talk about that as we go ahead. But today what I'm going to do, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to introduce you Chanakya as a traditional guru, as a Sikshak. And I'm going to see how to apply that in modern businesses. So can I have the slide here? So my topic is Chanakya Saptanga for Business Leadership. You know, 21 किताबें लिखी हैं by the grace of God. All of the books are bestsellers. Next slide. You can go on Google. It helped me reach Mr. Modi also. And let me tell you, the good part about it is that, you know, the application of Chanakya is in every field. Not only businesses or politics, but also to the extent that we train the Indian Army, Navy, Air Force. But वो अलग बात है. I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm going to introduce you to this person called Chanakya. Next slide. सबने चाणक्य के बारे में सुना है? Okay. Who was he? When did he leave? What did he do? And why is he a legend? कि आज इतने सालों के बाद भी हम उसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. Next slide. I'm not going to take a history class, but quickly. Born in the 4th century BC, 2400 साल पहले ये व्यक्ति होके गया था. And here's a surprising fact for you, that Chanakya was also part of Bombay. Yes, Many people don't know this particular part. Bombay was part of Chandragupta Maurya's dynasty. And you will be surprised, my wife is doing a PhD on Bombay city. Even today, there are 40 forts in Bombay city. Killa. Durga बोलते हैं ना, मराठी में तो दुर्ग म्हणतात आपण त्याला. Have you heard about Bandra Fort? Have you heard about Sion Fort? They are real forts even today. Of course, we have Vasai Fort and all. They were part of Maurya dynasty. Of course, later on built in, and Shivaji took the strategy and he expanded his kingdom. Okay. Quickly, one slide on the history. I'm not a historian. Explain. Just to give an idea. Taken an oath to pull down the Nanda dynasty. एक नंदा राजा थे, बहुत खराब राजा था. देखो, business में भी, it all depends on leader, isn't it? यथा राजा, तथा प्रजा नहीं, यथा राज्य. अगर आपका बिजनेस अच्छा हो रहा है, it is because of you. खराब हो रहा है, you have to be blamed. Okay, he was a kingmaker. देखो, you know, I remember when Joshi sir was talking about it, and of course Sumantra sir was talking about it, you always require advisors. It is advisors that can make or break your business. I hope you have good advisors with you. Let me tell you, Government of India has made a policy that everybody requires now an independent director. पता है आपको? It's a mandatory requirement. I hope you have good advisors with you. And let me tell you, my dear friends, advisor is not just one to sign a paper. इनके साथ सुन रहा था मैं, इतना कुछ मिलता है आपको. How many of you heard about a company called Reliance? Sir, क्या बात करें? I'll tell you the story about Reliance growth. Everybody has seen the movie Guru? Okay. Okay, in that movie also, if you go and see, you will be surprised to know Dhirubhai Ambani was from which industry? Petroleum. And he was a petrol pump attendant. Remember that? How did he become number one in that field? You know what he did? You remember आपके health में या फिर pharma field में you will get lot of ideas. बराबर है? But ideas doesn't make you industry leader. Advisor makes you. You know what Dhirubhai Ambani did? He said, okay, petrol में पैसा है. इतना तो सबको पता है, right? Petrol में पैसा है, लेकिन पैसा कमाना कैसे? You know what he did? He did not have money. By the way, the best advice that you will get will always be free. हमको लगता है advisor मतलब कोई McKinsey और KPMG को लेके आना है. Let me tell you, इनको सुन लो, बहुत हो गया. I'm sure you have YouTube videos. Let me tell you what Dhirubhai Ambani did. He made a list of all people who are retired in the government petroleum organizations. ONGC, HPCL, BPCL. You know, government में क्या होता है, एक बार रिटायर हो गए कोई पूछता नहीं, करेक्ट? और उनके पास इतना ज्ञान अनुभव होता है कि they want to give but nobody comes. Dhirubhai Ambani went to him and took all the ideas and created Reliance. And he understood that and he took Mukesh to go and join chemical technology. Remember that? UD City here in Mumbai. So what I'm saying is that look, one man as a petrol pump attendant got a good advisor, but he sought an advisor and became number one in that field. And remember the competitors, ONGC, HPCL, BPCL, all government, right? But now he is now among the biggest in that field. And even today, even though Reliance is going to Jio, last week I was in Jio. You'll be surprised, the growth is phenomenal. But you'll be surprised, even Jio has got the best advisors in the telecom industry from the world. So आपके बाजू में कौन बैठता है? That actually will make you successful as a businessman. So we had a great advisor, चाणक्य for Chandragupta Maurya. यहाँ तक उनका राज्य था. Responsible for the defeat of Alexander in India. देखो Alexander, you know, Joshi sir mentioned from Mesopotamia. You'll be surprised. And you are saying, you know, we have some genes of Alexander also. ठीक है? But you'll be surprised to know when Alexander came was the biggest problem. Correct? हम छोटे हैं, इतना बड़ा आता है. कोई भी challenge हो, डरना नहीं. The question to ask is that who is your advisor? Don't worry about the problem. Look at who is the advisor to fight the problem. मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ, महाभारत का युद्ध सुना है आपने? Mahabharat was not won on the 18th day of the war. It was won even before the war started when Krishna was chosen as the advisor by Arjuna, isn't it? So आपको अगर business grow करना है, you should have some advisor, and the best advisor is always at home. आपके माँ, पिताजी, बीवी, जो भी है, you know, it's very important to be a listener. Very good quality of leadership. Anyway, so Alexander was defeated even though Chanakya was not a Raja and he did not have a great army. आपको लगता है मैं तो छोटा हूँ. Let me tell you, छोटे में बहुत फायदा होता है. बड़े होने में अलग प्रॉब्लम है. सबको प्रॉब्लम रहता है. but it's only the small who will become big. You know, I remember I was working with the packaging industry, and they were telling me, हम तो छोटे हैं, वो तो छोटे ही बड़े होते हैं, isn't it? यार बड़े हो तो, then the word is called sustainability. Only small can grow, and the big have to sustain. तो हमारे लिए सस्टेनेबिलिटी बाद में देखते हैं. जैसे इन्होंने विजन दे दिया 100 करोड़ तो बनाना है कि नहीं बनाना है? 25 million, billion, ठीक है यार. We were the leaders of the world. See, I've been a salesperson and a marketing person. And when I studied, I also studied branding. I remember when I was studying branding, I did a Google, and world's oldest brand, even today, is Ayurveda, part of our industry. अब सोच के देखो. Imagine कितने सालों के बाद भी दादी माँ का नुस्खा काम आता है कि नहीं आता है? Of course. I'm not telling every dadi maa ka nuska works. Of course, if the third stage cancer, you have to go to a specialist. But let us not forget that we have the traditional wisdom with modern day technology. IT industry is ours, but let us not forget Chanakya's wisdom also. Of course, India's first global emperor was Ashoka. Third generation Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya's son was Bindusar. Bindusar's son was Ashoka. तो आपको अपने अगले पीढ़ी और अगले की अगले पीढ़ी में बिजनेस ग्रोथ देखना है कि नहीं देखना है? देखना है कि नहीं देखना है? अरे मेरा बेटा ही ज्वाइन नहीं करता, अब्रॉड भेज दिया, बराबर पढ़ाई के लिए, पढ़ाई करके वापस नहीं आएगा. I remember I was in airport and I was with the CEO of one of the Birla group of companies, and there was a Marwadi businessman. How many Marwadis here? सबको नमन मेरा. They're the sharpest people I've seen. Gujaratis, Marwadis, Sindhis, सब put together. Huh? So I see this particular Marwadi businessman coming, and the Birla CEO was with me, and there was another professor from IIM. So जैसे बिरला के CEO मेरे दोस्त थे, उनको बुलाया, बोलते कि मारवाड़ी जी बिजनेसमैन है ना, ट्रेडर है, मर्चेंट है, बोलते इनको इंट्रोड्यूस करो, ये IIM के प्रोफेसर है. उन्होंने क्या कहा पता है आपको? नमस्कार, आपसे बात नहीं करनी मुझे. तो वी आर ऑल शॉक्ड. आपसे बात क्यों? पता है क्या? Who is telling? A Marwadi businessman is telling an IIM professor, I don't want to talk to you. क्यों? क्योंकि मैं आपसे ज़्यादा बात करूँगा ना, तो मुझे ऐसा लगे कि मैं कम पढ़ा लिखा हूँ. नंबर 1. दूसरा, मेरे बेटे को आपके पास भेज दूंगा. तीसरा, वो मेरे धंधे में कभी नहीं आएगा. So highly educated, lost to my family business. 90% of the business across the world are still family-run business. Do you know this? Unfortunately, we don't know how to make succession planning in this country. We all lost. The shipping industry we are dominating. You know, गुजरात के जितने भी आप ports में जाओगे, आज सब लोग अदानी की बात करते हैं, right? But you know, we were the leaders in the shipping industry, and that was a great thing. And Indians ने सिखाया how to run the shipping industry and the boat industry. Have you heard about Star Cruise? Do you know Star Cruise is a multinational company which is 600 years old? It is still headquartered in a village in Europe. क्यों नहीं हो सकता? It is the most modern boats that are being made, right? But family-owned business. So you can modernize it, you can have technology, but we have different challenges. कभी और बात करेंगे. But what is very important is that Chanakya documented everything. देखो आजकल टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से this is also getting video shot, right? कल भी आप देख सकते हो YouTube में. उस ज़माने में वीडियो नहीं था तो लिखना पड़ता था. So he documented everything, and I thank him क्योंकि वो तो चले गए लेकिन ज्ञान रह गया. This is one thing I learned from my father. If you have succeeded, document it for the prosperity. हम नहीं रहेंगे लेकिन हमारा ज्ञान चलता रहेगा. You know, in this country, we celebrate a very interesting festival called as Guru Purnima. सब लोग सुना है? किसका बर्थडे है गुरु पूर्णिमा? हाँ, हमारे गुरु का है, ठीक है. But originally, it is celebrated as the birthday of Ved Vyas, the first documenter of the world. Mahabharata, पूरा भागवत, everything, Vedas. So if you have a business, please document your success stories. लिखना जानते हो? हाँ, स्कूल में लिखना पढ़ना जानते हैं. We only been trained to write exams, and unfortunately, our education system is only an examination system. Isn't it true? So if you know how to write, I request all the stalwarts, please write a book. You should be the case studies for the world. Let us learn from them, but we should be the case study for the world. You know, there was a businessman I remember from the transport industry. अभी आप ध्यान से सुनिए, ही इज गॉट 2000 ऑफिसर्स इन इंडिया. बड़ा है कि छोटा है? कोई जानता नहीं उनको. उन्होंने मेरे को ऐसे लेक्चर के लिए बुलाया, फिर बोला सर 2000 ऑफिस, कितने एम्प्लॉयज है? बोला 25,000. बड़ा है कि छोटा है? कोई जानता नहीं उनको. मतलब कि सर एक किताब लिखो, यू विल बी सरप्राइज. उन्होंने लिखा 3 साल के बाद, बोल बोल के. कैन यू बिलीव दिस? टुडे इज टीचिंग इन हार्वर्ड. व्हाई कांट वी बी द केस स्टडी फॉर द वर्ल्ड? तो छोटा है वो ठीक है, लेकिन लिखो. ओके और चाणक्य ने क्या लिखा हम देखते हैं थोड़ा सा, आपने को थोड़ा फायदा हो जाए. ओके कौटिल्य अर्थशास्त्र की किताब है, चाणक्य नीति करके और एक किताब है, बट कौटिल्य अर्थशास्त्र में मेरा PhD है. नोन एज अ बुक ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स. भारत सबसे श्रीमंत देश क्यों था, इसका सीक्रेट इस बुक में है. इट्स अ बुक ऑफ स्टेट क्राफ्ट. बहुत सारे लोग कंफ्यूज करते हैं बिटवीन 2 वर्ड्स, पॉलिटिशियन एंड स्टेट्समैन. पॉलिटिशियन is a person who works from election to election. Statesman works from generation to generation. फर्क समझ में आ रहा है? So what we require is good statesmen in this country. And fortunately we have very good statesmen also in this country. For example, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay, we had APJ Abdul Kalam and of course Pranab Mukherjee. I don't know if you have studied them. Don't look them as politicians. They are people who are visionaries. And for those people who don't respect or don't understand, Pranab Mukherjee ji, let me tell you, demonetization हुआ, सबका नोट बंद हो गया. Who sanctioned it? Of course, Modi ji was the man behind it, but who sanctioned it? President of the country. No great policy can be implemented without the president, right? And remember this, they were from 2 different parties, isn't it? But the respect that Modi ji had for Pranab Mukherjee and vice versa is something that all of us are benefiting. So Chanakya created statesmen for this country. He created businessmen for this country. Of course, न्याय, warfare, strategy, बहुत कुछ है बात करने के लिए. But एक किताब में 6000 फॉर्मूला हाउ टू बिकम रिच. कितना? आइंस्टाइन ने एक फॉर्मूला दिया, E = mc². और हम लोग कहते ग्रेटेस्ट साइंटिस्ट. इसने 6000 फॉर्मूला दिए. और समय की मर्यादा देख के आपको एक ही फॉर्मूला शेयर करूंगा आज. ठीक है? सो क्या क्या विषय है उन्होंने कवर किया है? लीडरशिप. रिमेंबर ऑल ऑफ यू आर बिजनेस लीडर्स, नॉट बिजनेसमैन और वुमन. यू नॉट जस्ट सेल्समैन. यू नो अनफॉर्चुनेटली इन द स्टार्ट ऑफ ए बिजनेस वी आर ऑल सेलर्स. इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, बट एज यू ग्रो यू विल हैव ए सेल्स हेड इन योर कंपनी. इज इट ट्रू? हमारा क्या होता है, बेचते बेचते ये भूल जाते हैं धंधा करना है. बेचो, वो भी जरूरी है, बट द स्केलिंग ऑफ बिजनेस डजंट हैपन ओनली बाय सेलिंग. It happens to strategic selling. Okay, a lot of other topics. Economics. चाणक्य ने उस जमाने में बता दिया कि कैसे हम बड़े हो सकते हैं financially. I written a book also, Chanakya, The Art of Getting Rich. Okay, you can get it on YouTube. Law, foreign policies. देखिए, you know, thousands of years ago we were the global leaders in business. हम तो अभी वापस आ रहे हैं. अरे थे. That's why the Britishers came to us. In fact, Shakespeare wrote a book, Merchant of Venice. याद है? The merchants came to India and they became the rulers of India, East India Company. We forgot Chanakya, we forgot his warfare strategies. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But think about it, he spoke about gemology. Do you know one thing? India still has got the biggest gemological trade in the world. Diamond industry. आप जयपुर में जाइए. Have anybody from Jaipur here? I have a student of mine, very funny. He was telling me, जयपुर में हर शादी मिडिल क्लास फैमिली, मिनिमम 100 crores. वैसे भी इंडिया में तो ग्रेट वेडिंग होता ही है सब जगह, करेक्ट? बट थिंक अबाउट इट कि वाई. देन आई फाउंड आउट इन हैदराबाद द निजाम was the richest person in the world. Do you know this? During British Raj, he had his own private railway and aircraft. So there are things which you forgot. But the idea is that, you know, gemology was the strength of India. Next, Ayurveda was the strength of India, which Chanakya specialized. Chanakya was from the, what we can call it in modern day, pharma industry also. उन्होंने क्या क्या नीति बनाया आप देखते हैं बाद में. Architecture, how to design a city, a country, and of course, how to design a company also we'll see. Now, very important part of Chanakya, it survives the test of time because it is based on साइकोलॉजी ऑफ ह्यूमन बींग्स. तो धंधा करता है उसको क्लाइंट का नस पकड़ने आना चाहिए, बराबर है? धंधा समझा, लेकिन सामने वाले को समझो, और सामने वाले को जो समझता है वो धंधा समझता है, राइट? आई विल गिव सिंपल प्रैक्टिकल एग्जांपल. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू गो टू क्लाइंट्स फॉर नेगोशिएशंस? करते हो सब लोग, वही तो है धंधा. Somebody told me once, negotiation is equal to business success, right? But we don't even know how to negotiate. Huh? Because we only have one point of negotiation, that is called price point. True or no? There are 25 methods of negotiation by Chanakya. कभी सुना है आपने? I'll give you a simple example. Okay, suppose अभी अपना कोई product है, you go to a client and you know the client is very rich. चाणक्य is very clear, उसी client के पास जाना जिसके पास आपसे ज़्यादा पैसा हो, बराबर है ना? Now thing is that let's say your product is worth 100 rupees, just for calculation. You go with the mindset that, oh, he may ask for a discount, right? But you will be surprised to know, you may go with a 100 rupee product, but if you know negotiations, he may pay you 150 rupees. हम क्या करते हैं, 80 रुपये में खुश हो जाते हैं. Because the original price was 70, you marked up by 30, right? And you got it at 80. बोला अरे 10 रुपये का फायदा हुआ. अरे you don't know how to make the deal only. So I remember this client who went and he saw that he has got the money. जिसके पास पैसा नहीं है मत जाओ, और जिसके पास पैसा है कितना निकालने को भी आना चाहिए ना. He went and you'll be surprised to know money was not a problem, but he never understood what the client wanted. The client wanted to give that to somebody else. So 100 रुपये का वो बोला, सर मैं आपको अच्छा पैकेजिंग करके दूंगा. आप देखो आपके घर में मैक्सिमम पैकेजिंग प्रोडक्ट्स बाहर जाते हैं ना, अमेजोन का डिलीवरी. द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम फॉर द कंट्री राइट नाउ इज वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट. देखो हर अमेजोन का डिलीवरी में आपका होता है, बाहर क्या जाता है, कचरा. अमेजोन इज बीइंग actually legalized in lot of courts across the world for waste management, including India. Are you aware of this? You'll be surprised, we don't know. So this particular person goes to me and says, my product is 100 rupees, but I'll package it. But the packaging cost is 50 rupees. सामने वाला देगा कि नहीं देगा? Today आपको गिफ्ट करना है तो अच्छी तरह गिफ्ट करना है ना. So I'm telling you, you have to understand in business, client psychology is very important. It is not just your product or the pricing part of it. That's why the game of valuation is very different from value creation. फिर से बोलता हूँ, मैं थोड़ा टेक्निकल वर्ड है. Valuation versus value. Are you able to create a value for the customer? And the value is not just pricing, it's much more. And let me tell you, please get more women into your companies. Because they are the one who understand the value more than the product. I'll give a simple example about 3 things. Price, okay, cost and value. हमको नहीं पता ये सब. But I'll tell you, before I go to the Saptanga model, you know, we only talk about price point, correct? And cost, but we don't understand valuation. Simple example. You have a pen, सबके पास एक पेन है. देखो पेन के रेंजेस होते हैं, 2 रुपए का होता है, 2000 का भी होता है, बराबर है? Now let me tell you that, you know, the price of that pen, let's say it's a 10 rupee pen. The manufacturing and everything you put together, let's say it is, you know, 8 rupees, correct? That's the price of the pen, including labor cost and everything. But your cost, when you sell, MRP will be 10 rupees. So आपका कितना हुआ margin? 2 rupees or 20%, right? But you'll be surprised, you can still sell that pen if you create a value at 25 rupees. कैसे? हम तो MRP देखते हैं. Remember, MRP is maximum retail price. और डिस्काउंट में भी दे सकता है ना नेगोशिएशन में. So I'll give an example. If I were to tell you this pen, which is MRP 10 rupees, but was once used by Gandhiji for signing a paper, and if you are a Gandhian, how much will you pay for it? How much will you pay for it? I'll give you an example. I work in the cricket industry. ये जो आजू बाजू में दिख रहा है ना, बाजू में वानखेड़े है, ब्रेबॉर्न स्टेडियम, दिस ऑल द प्लेसेस I worked with, and we used to work very closely with Sachin Tendulkar. So I have a magazine which is 25 years old. ध्यान से सुनिएगा कि वैल्यू क्या होता है. कभी कभी हमको हमारा खुद का वैल्यू पता नहीं चलता till you look it from the other perspective. So I was at home cleaning my shelf. तो मुझे एक मैगजीन मिली 25 साल पहले. It was a special anniversary issue of cricket based on Don Bradman. Don Bradman सुना है आपने? Legend. बराबर है, उसके ऊपर आर्टिकल्स थे. तो मैंने रख दिया because I was in that industry at that particular time. I remember one friend came to me. He is a cricket historian. ऐसा भी प्रोफेशन होता है, मुझे नहीं पता था. ही कम्स एंड टेल्स मी ओके मैंने सुना तुम्हारे पास कोई किताब है, बोला हाँ किताब नहीं है मैगजीन है, बताओगे? ही वेंट थ्रू इट एंड से कैन यू गिव इट टू मी, बोला पागल है क्या, स्पेशल इशू कलेक्टर इशू मैं नहीं दूंगा, आई एम रेडी टू गिव यू 1 लाख रुपी फॉर दिस। 10 रुपीज़ में लिया था 1 लाख रुपी। तो मैं थोड़ा नेगोशिएशन मोड में आ गया, नहीं नहीं मैं 5 लाख के नीचे नहीं दूंगा, मैं 10 लाख देने को तैयार हूँ। मैंने नहीं दिया, बट आई आस्क्ड हिम कि व्हाट इज दैट यू हैव सीन इन दैट मैगजीन व्हिच आई मिस्ड। यू नो व्हाट ही टोल्ड मी, ध्यान से सुनिएगा, यू नो व्हाट ही टोल्ड मी, इट्स गॉट अ वेरी स्पेशल आर्टिकल ऑन हाउ डॉन ब्रैडमैन्स एरा एक्चुअली हैड बॉडी लाइन एज अ स्ट्रैटेजी फॉर डिफीटिंग इन वर्ल्ड वॉर्स। देखो हमको पता ही नहीं होता, डू यू नो बॉडी लाइन सुना है आपने? एक सीरियल भी होता था, यूज्ड टू बॉल टू हिट द पर्सन, आजकल हेलमेट है ना, एंड दैट वाज द पार्ट ऑफ World War I एंड World War II, एंड डॉन ब्रैडमैन एक्चुअली रोट एन आर्टिकल ऑन इट, जिसके वजह से रूल्स आए, पॉलिसी है। क्रिकेट हिस्टोरियन के लिए उसको 10 लाख का वैल्यू कम है। कमिंग बैक, हम धंधा करते हैं, हमको वैल्यू नहीं पता खुद का भी और बिजनेस का भी। So if we are the leaders of the world, why can't we create it? So we'll see that. So what I'm saying that please understand human psychology of the person against you or ahead of you, and you'll create much more value than you can think. Next slide. Okay, I have the slide changer. So I'll now just take what is there in the next 15 minutes called the सप्तांग मॉडल। चाणक्य ने ये मॉडल सिखाया था उनके राजाओं के लिए। अब हम लोग सब बिजनेस के राजा और रानी है ना, इट्स कॉल्ड द सप्तांग। एवरीबडी नोस बेसिक संस्कृत, सप्त मतलब 7, 1 2 3 4 5 6 9 10, इतना तो सीख लो। मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ 4 भाषा सबको आनी चाहिए। नंबर 1 इज कॉल्ड मातृभाषा। अनफॉर्चुनेटली गुजरातीस आर नॉट लर्निंग गुजराती, दे ओनली स्पीकिंग गुजराती। फर्क है कि नहीं? दे आर स्पीकिंग गुजराती एट होम, दे वेरी प्राउड, बट आई विल टेल यू वन पर्सन हुज लिटरेचर इज लॉस्ट टू एवरी गुजराती हाउस, के मुंशी। How many of you heard about K. Munshi? See, this generation will. Do you know who was K. Munshi? One of the greatest living statesmen of the world. महात्मा गांधी को बॉम्बे में बुलाया उन्होंने। There is Mani Bhavan here. भारतीय विद्या भवन के founder. He was a statesman, industrialist, policy maker, and very important author. कृष्ण चरित्र के बुक्स है उनके। No Gujarati house I go, I read Gujarati literature, but nobody knows about K. Munshi. Very sad, isn't it? Now I am saying that you should learn Matrubhasha, not only speaking but reading and writing. Second, please learn English, Potaji Bhasha. Third, you should learn Hindi, national language. And fourth, Devachi Bhasha. And by the way, Sanskrit is not a spiritual language. Huh? It is also a spiritual language. It talks about Brahman, Atman, Paramatman, sab hai. But you know one thing? Sanskrit is a strategic language. संस्कृत इज अ स्ट्रैटेजिक लैंग्वेज। आई विल गिव एन एग्जांपल। पोखरण के बारे में सुना है? पोखरण, आई थिंक देयर इज रॉकेट बॉयज 1 and 2, हैव यू सीन दोस? प्लीज वॉच इट। पोखरण वाज द इंडियाज पावर टू द वर्ल्ड, द न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट दैट वी डिड। आई नो वन ऑफ माई टीचर्स, संस्कृत टीचर, वॉज पार्ट ऑफ दैट प्रोजेक्ट। You know, because the whole world is surveilling you, especially the Americans and everybody else, nobody wants the other power to come up, right? You know what they did? How to keep a tab, because आपके phone tap होते हैं. All nuclear scientists across the globe are watched very closely. Isn't it true? I work with some nuclear scientists. कभी नंबर नहीं देते हो मेरे को, मोबाइल नंबर. क्यों मैंने पूछा? बोलते मेरा फ़ोन वैसे भी टैप्ड है, तेरा भी टैप हो जाएगा. Anyway, the idea is that, you know, they used a code language to communicate among themselves in Sanskrit. They could not decode it. The success of Pokhran is the code language that we used in Sanskrit. So आज मैं आपको decode करके बताऊँ कि चाणक्य का business model क्या है एक राज्य चलाने के लिए. Okay? देखो 6000 में से एक सूत्र 6.1.1 रेफरेंस है. ये मेरा कोई ओरिजिनल नहीं है. It is called स्वामी अमात्य जनपद दुर्ग कोश दंड मित्राणि प्रकृतयः. दिखता है बड़ा लाइन, but it's actually got 9 words. You have to split. It's called sandhi. You split it, right? Compounding. Swami, Amatya, Janapada, Durga, Kosha, Danda and Mitra iti prakritayah. The king, the minister, the country, the fortified city, the treasury, the army and the ally are the constituent elements of the state. अभी आपको सिंपल लैंग्वेज में बताऊंगा. एक राज्य के 7 अंग होते हैं, सप्तांग, और इसमें से कोई भी मिसिंग है तो राज्य में कुछ ना कुछ वीकनेस है. पहला कौन होता है राज्य में? राजा. आई ऑल्सो इंक्लूड रानी. तो बोलेगा ही इज नॉट सपोर्टिंग फीमेल leadership. I support. In fact, I come from a community called the Nayar community in Kerala, where we have a matriarchal system. The husband gets married and goes and stays in the girl's house. और उसको घर जमाई नहीं बोलते. My papa also. Why am I telling you? It's a very different model. So when I say Swami, it can be Swamini also. तो एक राज्य में एक लीडर चाहिए, but can the leader run it alone? No. Then you require an amatya. एक मंत्री लगती है कि नहीं? मंत्री परिषद लगते हैं. बराबर है? Every great leader had actually great mantris. Shivaji had Ashtapradhan. Akbar had Navaratnas. Remember that? Do you have your own mantris? नहीं हम स्वामी. ठीक है. स्वामी हमारे जनपद. अरे राजा है मंत्री लेकिन प्रजा ही नहीं है. You require what is called janapada. Durga, infrastructure. The success of every kingdom is the infrastructure. कोश, पैसा लगता है राज्य चलाने के लिए. इकोनॉमी $5 trillion. किसी ने बहुत अच्छा कमेंट किया. वन बिजनेसमैन, आई वाज इन अ सेमिनार, ही सेड, यू नो, वी आर थिंकिंग वेरी स्मॉल. मैंने बोला क्यों? 5 trillion इज गुड. वी शुड एक्चुअली एम फॉर 50 trillion. व्हाई नॉट? सोच में ही है ना. तो व्हाई नॉट? सो वी वर द रिचेस्ट पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड बिकॉज वी हैड गुड ट्रेजरी. आई टॉक अबाउट इट सम अदर टाइम. आर्मी, एक सेना भी लगती है टू एक्चुअली प्रोटेक्ट योर इंटरनल पीपल एंड एक्सटर्नल पीपल. एक्सटर्नल एनिमीज आई वुड से. देखो यू नो, राज्य में अगर सेफ्टी नहीं है तो बिजनेस नहीं हो सकता है. करेक्ट और नो? बॉम्बे, द फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल ऑफ इंडिया, वंस वर कंट्रोल्ड बाय अंडरवर्ल्ड्स. यू रिमेंबर दैट जनरेशन? ऑल द सीनियर्स विल नो इट. गुलशन कुमार वाज शॉट डेड इन द मॉर्निंग. कोर्ट के अंदर जाके मारते थे. गुंडा राज वाज हियर एंड देन केम ए पुलिस ऑफिसर, डी शिवानंदन. आई हैव रिटन अ बुक विद हिम आल्सो and I request maybe you can call him some other time. He cleaned up the whole system. Today, this is the safest financial capital of the world. True or no? मेरी बीवी या बेटी अगर अकेले रात को 12 बजे आए, डर नहीं लगता. Isn't it true? And it is not by fluke. This actually happened by design. We have a very good system. And things are changing in UP and many places. Isn't it true? If you don't have security, that's the role of a good army. Internal and external. So internal it's policing, external it's the army. Okay, then ally. अगर आपको अच्छा राज्य क्रिएट करना है तो आपको मित्र की जरूरत पड़ती है. मित्र, दैट इज वेयर FPME कम्स इन. मैं अकेला लड़ रहा हूँ, लड़ते रहो अकेले. कभी तक लड़ोगे? देखो, रिमेंबर वन थिंग, इफ यू हैव अ प्रॉब्लम विद द गवर्नमेंट, गो अलोन. तुमको अपॉइंटमेंट भी नहीं देंगे. 10 लोग साथ में जाओ, एटलीस्ट दे विल कंसिडर. 50 लोग साथ में जाओ, सुनेंगे. 2000 लोग साथ में जाओ, करेंगे. फर्क समझ में आ रहा आपको? अकेले जाओ, उदय आया. I'll tell you one secret. Next time if you want to get any minister in this hall, tell him, you know, the worth of each person is 100 crores. And we got 500 people. उधर ना बोल के इधर आएगा. So I want all of you to go and think that minimum 100 crores अपने लाइफ टाइम में करेंगे. अपने लाइफ टाइम में. तुम्हारा बेटा या बेटी 2000 करोड़ करना उसका रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. उनको मैं ट्रेनिंग दे दूंगा. But it's very important to understand the power of mitra. अगर ये सातों साथ में है, then you are a great business organization. Can we apply that in modern politics? Of course. For example, we have a Raja in this country. Who is it? So we have a leader. Actually, according to the Indian Constitution, it is not the Prime Minister or the head of the country. It is the President. But ठीक है, because he is at least taking decisions. We had great leaders. Abdul Kalam, if you go back, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. So yes, let's say who is the leader? A bold leader. But can he work alone? Like Rajya mein, we have this whole ministry, right? Finance minister se leke all those ministers. So there are Mantri Parishad, Amatya, Janapada, 125 crore ki Janata. Now it's already world's largest, right? Some reports say that. I don't know. But anyway, we are more than 130-40 crores. So that's our strength. Market hai, but understand it is not just a market. Highly educated, intelligent crowd. We are the leaders for the world. मैं फिर से बोलता हूँ आपको. We are not just leaders of an industry, we are the leaders for the world. UK का Prime Minister, and it is not just about UK and India. I have done a personal research on Indian diaspora. ध्यान से रखिएगा, our biggest business is outside India. Isn't it true? At least 25 countries have got leaders from Indian origin. And there are many countries where Indian languages are official languages. For example, Singapore mein Tamil is an official language. Are you aware of it? Yes. Dubai mein Malayalam is common. और केरला में एक जोक है, come from Kerala ना, जब बच्चा पैदा होता है ना तो नर्स बोलती है ये तेरा पापा, ये तेरी मम्मी, ये तेरा दुबई, your final destination in life. Okay, think about Fiji. Have you heard about a small island called Fiji? Bhojpuri is an official language of that country. See, 25 कंट्री तो ऐसे ही बोल रहा हूँ मैं, शायद ज़्यादा ही होगा. अभी तो पूरा एक्सपोर्ट क्वालिटी, हाईली एजुकेटेड आईटी इंडस्ट्री, गूगल से लेकर सब हम लोग चला रहे हैं. But the thing is that you have to understand your country is your strength. And let me tell you, we are very close to achieving 100% literacy. I am not saying 100% education. Literacy का मतलब क्या होता है? लिखना पढ़ना, और रिक्शा वाले को भी आता है, correct? But you will be surprised, we are not thinkers, we are only doers. जो ऊपर वाला बोलता है वो मैं करेगा, जो गवर्नमेंट बोलता है वो मैं करेगा. अरे क्या, गवर्नमेंट को सुनाने को भी आना चाहिए. Why go and apply the policy the government has given? Why do you change the policy? It's possible if you know how to go as a team. Otherwise individually वो CA के साथ झगड़ा करते रहो. Please understand, your chartered accountant has to be a strategist, not just an accountant. I hope you have strategists with you, otherwise है ना अपने सारे. Anyway, that's why अपने country में 140 crore people है, 45 city. India is changing, isn't it? Every city that I go, metro है अभी सब जगह. Metro is very common. I went to Cochin just last week I was there, and you'll be surprised. Pune bolo, Cochin bolo, you go to north, everywhere metro. Airports, world class, isn't it? And we feel very proud that we are in a country of infrastructure. And by the way, I want to tell you a secret here, if you are not aware of it. Currently, Mumbai city is undergoing the world's largest engineering project through the metros. World's largest engineering project. And it's in a live city where action is happening every day. Isn't it true? आप सोचो, नीचे से ऊपर से सब जगह काम चल रहा है. And 7 lines simultaneously. More than 150 stations simultaneously. दुनिया में और कहीं इतना बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट नहीं चल रहा है. तो इंफ्रा देखना, whatever 10 years के बाद या 5 साल के बाद, you see we are going to be better than London. London moves on tubes. New York moves on all this infrastructure. You will see the fantastic thing that will happen. Anyway, I'll talk about that some other time. But you require what is called the treasury. Fortunately, we are growing well. आज रोटी कपड़ा मकान का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, करेक्ट? आज टाइम का प्रॉब्लम है. पहले क्या टाइम था, खाने को नहीं था. अभी पिज़्ज़ा बर्गर है लेकिन कोई आते नहीं. Please understand, we have a good economy and a growing economy. Army, world's best army. I work with the armed forces. Believe me, they're using artificial intelligence. We are ready for 2 more wars. The war, अगर युद्ध की बात करें तो अपने को लगता है border movie, लक्ष्य movie, across the border. But the wars have changed. Do you know the army is getting prepared for 2 more wars? One is called cyber wars, and the second is called space wars. And we are ready for it because we have technology on our side. Is your business ready for technology or with technology? And technology doesn't mean only having an app or a website. Your systems and processes can be navigated. The world's largest insurance company is LIC. You know how they migrated into technology? It only took them 6 months from paper to paperless. So I'm saying you, believe me, business transformation is something that you should think about, but don't think alone. Think along with Mitra. And of course, the last point, the ally. G20 चल रहा है ना सब जगह. I just spoke at G20, at 2 events. और कल भी बात कर रहा हूँ. India has arrived as an ally of all countries. So ये है राजनीति वाला. But let's see how to apply this in business in the last 5 minutes. तो if you think about your business, आपके business के बारे में सोचिए. Do you have a Swami or a Swamini? Sir, मैं खुद ही हूँ. ठीक है. But the Chanakya says you require a leader, but you require an ideal leader. Do you have leadership qualities? पता नहीं. कुर्सी पे बैठ गया. कुर्सी पे बैठना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. कुर्सी के काबिल होना. आपके पीछे कुर्सी आएंगे. Become capable of having a chair. The chairs will come behind you. I'm sure these stalwarts will be getting every invitation to come and become a president in some association, right? देखो, मेरे स्पिरिचुअल गुरु स्वामी चिन्मयानंद जी बहुत अच्छा कहते थे, यू मे गेट अ चेयर ऑफ लीडरशिप बाय एनी रीजन, हेरिडिटरी, मेरे पापा थे तो मैं भी बन गया, और मे बी इन्फ्लुएंस और ब्राइबिंग, अच्छा मेरा पिताजी है, चाचा है, जो भी है, या पैसा दे के बन गया. यू कैन गेट द पोजिशन ऑफ लीडरशिप, बट इफ यू आर नॉट केपेबल, द चेयर विल नॉट कीप यू. सो केपेबिलिटी बढ़ाओ, बिजनेस बढ़ जाएगा, अपने आप की क्वालिटी. सो स्वामी होना चाहिए, अमात्य. ये सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है एमएसएमई का. नंबर 2, बराबर है. आई सीन ऑल ऑफ देम टेलिंग मी नो नंबर 2 मिलता ही नहीं, बिकॉज आपका प्रॉब्लम क्या बोलना है, आप नंबर 1 नंबर 2 का काम करते हो. आई रिमेंबर दिस होटल आई हैड गॉन, उडुपी होटल बॉम्बे में काफ़ी फेमस है. वही खुद जाके दरवाज़ा खोलता है, वही ऑर्डर लेता है, वही बिलिंग करता है. फॉर्चुनेटली ही हैज गॉट अ कुक. कैन ही एक्सपेंड हिज बिजनेस? We fall in love with the role of number 2 when we are actually number 1. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज बोल रहा हूँ. We fall in love with the work of number 2 when we are actually number, and your children will not join you. Because you're not showing them leadership, you're showing them management. मैनेज करने के लिए मैनेजर लगता है, बराबर है, अमात्य. एंड शुड हैव गुड अमात्यास. बड़े कंपनी पैसा दे के ले सकते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पे अमात्य शुरू होते हैं. Please stop doing work. Start generating work. That is the work of a leader. Doing work is not your job. It is the work of amatya. But creating work. You know which is the world's largest IT company currently? World's largest, not India's largest. TCS. Fortunately, it's an Indian company only. You'll be surprised to know I work with TCS as an advisor. There are 5,000 leaders and everybody's job is only to go and create business. Execution के लिए बहुत जन मिल जाएंगे. They're hiring 50,000 people every day, every year, sorry. Not bad. COVID हो, कुछ भी हो, निकालते नहीं है. Please generate business, don't do business. अमात्य. जनपद. Clients, आपके पास clients है? Are your clients growing? Are you giving them more value addition? There are a lot of management terminologies, product line, product mix. But are you serving your client better? And by the way, your clients need not be today physical. It can be global and digital. Think about it, companies like Byju's, बराबर? उनका ऑफिस देख के है बैंगलोर में. Of course, they also have their own challenges. I'm not going to that. But the idea is that can you become global by sitting in one place? You can. So you have to adapt to technology. So your Janpada. So your client should be happy and the client should be growing. Okay. Durga. Today, infrastructure is physical and digital. Work from home आ गया है. Next generation काम नहीं करेगी ऑफिस में, बराबर है? They are more concerned about quality of life than wages. We did a very interesting survey of the best places to work. There's a report, आप note कर लीजिए, great places to work. You'll be surprised, top 10 companies of the world where people are happy. And fortunately, one Indian company is there, TCS. You know, the 3 top requirements for employees. The first thing, free food. आप हंसेंगे. Can you believe? आप अपने लोगों को खाना दो, छोड़ के रह जाएंगे. अपने घर में खाना मेहमान को भी देता है ना. गांव में गरीब आदमी भी खाना देता है. ऑफिस में क्यों नहीं दे सकते? Second requirement, flexible working hours. And this report came before COVID. And the third is salary on time. It is not highest salary of the industry. हमको लगता है ये कितना मिल रहा है तेरे को, 10,000 रुपया, ठीक है, मैं तेरे को 25,000 दे दो, आ जा. वो भी चला जाएगा, क्योंकि 30,000 रुपये वाला बैठा है. You have to create a work culture where your next generation will want to work with the company. And let me tell you, the next generation is going to be a generation of startups. I know my own cousins studying at IIMs. They want to work with a startup. आपको लगता है हमारे पास पैसा नहीं है, आपके पास जोश है क्या? You'll attract the best talent at low cost. And big companies have a problem. Instead of giving money, they don't attract talent. Anyway, so create infrastructure and a culture of the organization. Then kosha, पैसे का व्यवहार, ये तो एकदम क्लियर है, इसके ऊपर अलग सेशन लेंगे. You have to be financially growing. You know what Chanakya says? Your treasury should not be full. It should be overflowing. Your treasury should not be full. आपको 200 रुपया चाहिए तो 200 रुपया मिल गया तो खुश हो जाओगे. नहीं, आपके पास 500 रुपया होने चाहिए. And your problem should be what to do with that 300 rupees extra. That is how investors think. हमारा क्या है 190 हो गया, कभी 200 होएगा, खुश नहीं रहते. But think about a problem, a different problem. You have more money and don't know where to invest. That is what investors are doing, isn't it? They come out and buy companies in India. So it's time to look at our finances strategically, and danda, your team has to increase. So the 3 levels, leader, manager and worker, that is danda. And finally mitra, that is what we are all about. You know friends, I just want to summarize this by saying your business problem will be one of these 7. Isn't it true? या तो तुम खुद प्रॉब्लम हो, या तुम्हारे पास नंबर 2 नहीं है, करेक्ट. स्वामी अमर जनपद, या क्लाइंट्स नहीं है, या क्लाइंट्स टाइम पे पे नहीं करते. कोश, दुर्गा, दंड, मित्र. सो नाउ गो बैक टू दैट फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन. नाउ यू एनालाइज इट योरसेल्फ. है ना, सप्ताह में कोई ना कोई प्रॉब्लम है. एंड लेट मी टेल यू मैजिक, इवन इफ यू सॉल्व इट, द प्रॉब्लम इज नॉट गोइंग टू एंड. सपोज आज पैसे का प्रॉब्लम है, यू गेट अ इन्वेस्टर, डू यू थिंक इट्स ओवर? नो. A kosha may be solved, but again you have to go behind Janapada. You have to go and acquire new clients, isn't it true? So I'll not go technical, there's so much thing to do, but my dear friends, please understand one thing. छोटे लोग को भी प्रॉब्लम होता है, बड़े लोग को भी प्रॉब्लम होता है. बट बड़े लोग का प्रॉब्लम कैसे सॉल्व करते हैं पता है आपको? वो साथ में आके सॉल्व करते हैं, और छोटे लोग अकेले सॉल्व करते हैं. Remember one thing, when you go out from here, at least create one mitra here. And that mitra should not be on the networking table. उसके ऑफिस में जाके मिलो, जैसे इनके पास जाके चाय पीता हूँ, और उनको भी घर पे बुलाओ. I just want to stop over here and maybe take up questions for the next 10 minutes. Before I wind up, I have an offer to give. I want to do personally one-to-one for all members who are interested in diagnosing your business the Saptanga model. क्योंकि डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं ना, तो डॉक्टर अगर मास में अगर बोलें, लेकिन मेरा दर्द तो मेरा दर्द है ना. आपको 1-to-1 कंसल्टिंग चाहिए? Let me tell you, non-commercial, completely free of cost, one diagnosis I'll do. We give a report also. So if you, but for that you have to come to Sandeep sir. I'll tell you the reason why. I'll tell you the reason why. हमारे पास इतने सारे प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन एक एडवाइजर अगर मिल गया, जैसे आपने चाणक्य कोट किया, मैं ये नहीं कहता कि मैं कोई चाणक्य एक्सपर्ट हूँ, बट thousands of companies have applied and been seen success. So मैं एक ही चीज बोल के खत्म करूँगा. Never fight a battle alone. Take some friends along. Thank you so much.
Share your thoughts. Anybody would like to share the thoughts on what? एक question मैं पूछ रहा हूँ. एक question मैं. Sir,
I think we get an opportunity.
Sir, you would like to.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai. It was completely mesmerizing, I would say.
Thank you.
Your engagement was super high. Like,
Thank you.
And the best part, what I liked was that the way you connected with the audience. And if you are able to connect with the audience, half of the job is done. अगर हम बात कर पाएँ, हम समझा पाएँ जो कहना चाह रहे हैं, तो आधा काम तो वैसे ही हो गया. रिजल्ट का ओरिएंटेशन होगा. The best part is that it's the complete lecture was completely non-commercial. Like it was nothing to do with his vested interest out of this particular participation. When you become very selfless, I think that is the stepping stone of any great person.
Thank you.
And I think these qualities are well rounded off in you, and I'm very glad to be a part of this session because, and thank you Sandeep ji for bringing him in. Though there are multiple books written by him, but you don't get that advantage of hearing him live.
Thank you.
One question which was always triggering to me time and again, that these teachings, preachings or sutras, what you say, 6,000 sutras, with the modernization, with the outlook, with the genetic changes, somewhere down the line, the interpretation is getting very diluted. And you single-handedly cannot drive these change across the country. So what would be the best way where you can translate these thoughts, where everyone can have, so books would be always an individual interpretation. So how can this get translated to the wider audience,
Sure.
like me also, so that we all get benefited out of this understanding?
It's a very good question, Joshi sir. See, my journey has been from individual to institution. If I am a teacher, I can teach maybe 1 class, 2 class, 10 classes a day. बराबर है? But I would teach maybe 1,000 schools. Then I need to create more teachers. A good teacher doesn't create students, he creates more teachers. So I think the journey is institutionalizing. Now second advantage that I have got, or maybe our generation has got, is using technology. I'll give a small example. Myself and my father, yesterday we flew down from Bangalore. Okay, you'll be surprised. The air hostess came and she introduced herself. Her name was some Shweta, somebody. And said, I'm a big fan of yours. I've never seen her. Aapke YouTube videos dekhte ho. So you can actually reach people much more. I got around 1 million followers on my YouTube channel. So I think the thing is that if you can use technology, and books are also available now. So I think it's no more Radhakrishnan Pillai as an individual. I think it's Radhakrishnan Pillai on a mission to reach maximum. In fact, you'll be surprised, Pranav, one of my CEOs, he actually is a better teacher than me. And I don't feel nice about, and I feel very nice about it. आपके नंबर 2 आपसे अगर अच्छे बन गए तो अच्छी बात है कि बुरी बात है? ये बोलने के लिए ठीक है, ऑफिस जाके देखना. So I think if you can.
Personally, I have met Pranav and he is excellent.
Yeah. So I think coming back to your question, you cannot take a mission only by yourself, but you can lead the mission. But then we have to create more missionaries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I like to associate with you also.
Likewise.
Yeah. So.
You are a very great expert. I know you personally through your channel and everything. On Monday, if I have to buy a stock, which one should I buy?
Chanakya Anvikshiki Private Limited. So we are growing international. You will be surprised. I am more popular outside India than India. I teach in American universities. I teach in Oxford, I teach in Cambridge. I'll tell you the reason why. You'll be surprised to know that, when you study management, MBS वगैरह किए, it was a generation of, what we call the British management. Britishers ने अपना management through that colonization, सब सीखते हैं. Then came Japanese management, Kaizen theory and all that. Now everything is American management, isn't it? So most of the textbook, you'll be surprised. We are in an era where people are going to talk about Indian management and Indian leadership. Now coming back to the question, in America there is one very important thing. All consultants actually have their own companies. True or no? And that makes them reach out. The company reaches out to much more people. And they are not just companies, they are mass producers. For example, have you heard about a lady called Oprah Winfrey? Is she an individual or an institution? She's an institution. वो मर भी जाएगी तो company चलता रहेगा. So coming back, I realized one thing, I am having a limited time and a limited place, but my company can take it forward. So please invest in my company. पैसा कमाना. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, let me tell you practically one more thing. Okay, how many of you invest in Tatas? You decide. I'll tell you the reason why, because I work with them very closely. I don't invest, my wife does. And I'll tell you why Tatas. Because leadership is right. Leadership is right now. And every company of Tata has got a vision. Please understand two things. One is the vision of Tata and the hundreds of companies. I'll give you a simple example. Have you heard about Indian hotels? They own Taj. I'll tell you the growth story of Taj. You'll be surprised. They understand what is the tourism model of the world. Hotel industry is tourism model. They got 4 brands within one. Taj, Ginger, Vivanta, etc., right? And they realize one thing, Ayodhya, they're building 4 hotels simultaneously. Not 1 or 2 or 3. If you go to Hyderabad, there are 3 hotels of Taj in one area, Begumpet. But 1, 2, 3, bar bana, demand supply. They understood the supply. So if you want to invest in Indian hotels. Now coming back to Tata second, Tata Motors. We are almost written off Tata Motors after Nano. True or no? But do you know one thing, the way Tata Motors is coming back? Go to Pune. How many of you went to Pune in the last 1 year? Half of the cars are becoming electric. Isn't it true? You go to Pune, you'll understand it. So Tata Motors is the company to invest. Now come back to another one, TCS. Correct? Is it giving good returns? Imagine, I'm telling you inside story, 6 lakh employees and they're recruiting 50,000 every year. It is not just employment providing. They're generating business. And by the way, one story for all of you. TCS has been sponsoring New York Marathon for the last 14 years. Are you aware of this? The same Tata is sponsoring IPL now. True. So my take on the stock market is Tata's, any company you decide. Thank you. They are the experts. I mean, I leave to the industry expert. Any tips?
Yeah, please. One company.
See, if you ask about one company, two company, three companies, there are several names which are coming up. But then if we have to suggest or propose a pharma company, then there are many companies like, I would say Dr. Reddy's Lab is one, Sun Pharma is another one. It all depends on the vision of, as he was rightly pointing out, how do you visualize your organization to grow? Like, would you like to have footprints only in India or only in US or across the world? What are the product selections you have made? A stock investment is not only a pure money play. It is more about the vision of the owners, how they want to translate their business into various parts of the world. And there are many companies and there are very many visionaries in India. They have applied the same theory. Like you recall the brand name of Dr. Reddy's, it is never you will find a same traditional name. They have a unique name for all the products. And they go by Vastu, they go by numerology, they have adopted all occult science aspects to implement, and they are very, very associated with the traditional aspect of doing business in India. So there are many companies, but I would say Tata, I am a big fan because they have a brand called strong brand name. They have associated themselves with so many philanthropic activities, and any company who has money to spare or to spend on upliftment of the society, that company will never fail, and that is a sustainability mantra.
Tata 1 mg. Pharma for you. Tata 1 mg. Ledo? I think questions. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you, Sandeep ji. Please don't forget the free offer. Get your names to Sandeep ji. We'll do a diagnosis 1-to-1. तो यहाँ पे बैठ के लेक्चर देना ठीक है, आपका दर्द आपका है, isn't it?
He is really approachable, very down to earth person. Anyone can connect me, I will connect to him directly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Piyush Gupta from GNH would like to share his thoughts about FPME. I would like to welcome him.
Yes, thank you for inviting. I think I'll like to keep it as short as possible. Wonderful, educational, insightful talks today. काफ़ी सुन के बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि काफ़ी enthusiasm और लगन के साथ सब बात करते हैं, शेयर करते हैं. जो philosophical और Indian culture के बारे में बात हो रही है, तो मैं थोड़े points Indian culture से बोलना चाहूँगा. FPME और अपने business colleagues के लिए, जब अपन business करते हैं, let's have our focus as sharp as when द्रोणाचार्य instructed Arjun. जब द्रोणाचार्य ने अर्जुन को देखने बोला तो उसको सिर्फ एक ही चीज़ दिखी. How many people can say क्या दिखा उसको? Let FPME's focus be promotion of business. आप ये bureaucracy में मेरा advice है मत पढ़िए. FPME's promotion of export, promotion of business. Bureaucrats के साथ भिड़ेंगे उसमें time waste है. When we do business, I do not consider क्या हमको refund आने वाला है, क्या आने वाला है. I try to do the deal purely on उसका merits. कि अपने calculation में without any support, without any incentive, can we do this deal? If anything comes from the government or from any part, it's bonus. उसके ऊपर आप depend मत रहिए. Let's do the deal purely on its merits. जब आप गवर्नमेंट के पास जा रहे हैं, they feel we are begging. किसी भी मिनिस्टर से बात किए, they'll feel कि यहाँ कुछ मांगने आ गए. Let's go to give them. उनको चेक्स जाके दो. We are donating you. We are giving this to you. See the difference. पूरा वो लोग का mindset change हो जाता है. We practice this. We had some issues some political party were harassing us. We were creating a new warehouse in Prabhadevi, 10,000 square feet. We went to the police station, we donated to police fund. पूरा mindset change हो गया. Let's not lose focus. Business में भी कर रहे हैं, let's be focused. If we are exporters, let's focus on exports. People try to do this, do that, do 10 things. Many people who know us since last 15, 20 years, we are focused on exports. We don't try to then do domestic. We don't try to do, contract manufacturing. We are focused on exports. अगर जो speciality है उस पे ही focus करो. Let's do one thing good, and let's be world's number one in that thing. Let's not, keep diverting our focus, etc. So my thanks to FPME, they are doing a wonderful job. Sandeep bhai and President, they always are helpful. कुछ एक message डालो, 10 reply आएंगे. I like the group, WhatsApp group is really productive. Try करो, जिसने नहीं try किया, try करो, really productive है. डॉक्टर पिल्लाई जी ने बोला कि एक मित्र होना चाहिए. आई कैन टेल यू वो FPME ग्रुप में 100 मित्र है. उसमें छोटे से छोटा हमने प्रॉब्लम डाला, 100 लोग रिप्लाई करते हैं टू हेल्प. सो इट्स अ गुड कम्युनिटी, गुड ब्रदरहुड, गुड सिस्टरहुड. लेट्स कीप अप द गुड वर्क. लेट्स नॉट डिपेंड ऑन एनीवन. जो खुद के बलबूते से होता है वो करो. गवर्नमेंट को जो देना है वो देगी. Let's do what we can. Okay, that's
what we propose to Piyush Goyal ji. हमको benefits नहीं चाहिए, but hurdles निकाल दो. But that's what we get.
No good. I'm just sharing my thoughts.
Agreed. And that's what it's there.
Right.
He himself proposed that. Will you go for benefits, or we will go for ease of doing business? We said we go for ease of doing business.
Correct. So best of luck to the team. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you everyone for being the part of this event. We had such a wonderful event today. It was a diverse event. We had industry consultant who guided us how to enter a market. We had a kingmaker, Dr. Pillai himself, who motivated us कि don't stay there, grow. We have policymakers who promised us to ease our path. So we had a wonderful session today. And I would like to remind you, we do have regularly these sessions, we have webinar calendar throughout the year, wherein we invite industry experts on various topics. We generally have ECGSC, we have GST, and now we are planning to have a webinar with Chaudhary sir as well. So we request you, whenever we announce the webinar, please do enroll in large numbers, so that motivates us to bring in more experts like them. Thank you. It was a wonderful evening. And now I would like to invite Abhay sir. Please come and give us a vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I know by now everybody is very impatient to conclude. I am also surprised that there have been so many vote of thanks. The first one came from Mr. Samit for Dr. Pillai. Then it came from her. So what vote of thanks do I propose? I am wondering. So I would like to say that in the last 25 or 30 years that I have been attending seminars, this is the first time I have seen somebody get his dad here. And it's so pleasing to see a stalwart like him. It's really remarkable. I've never seen it before. Keep the good work going. I would also like to thank Sandeep. Sandeep is doing a wonderful job. Everybody knows. But for him, FPME is like what the stock exchange was for Rakesh Junjunwala. He is thinking only of FPME. I would also like to thank Ashish. Ashish is a shy guy. Stand up, Ashish. Let everybody know. He is very shy, so he does not ever come out of his curtain. Yeah, back end behind the curtain wo hai. So thank you, Ashish. And last but not least, Meghal. Meghal is full of energy. Meghal is very young. And I would only like to give him a brotherly advice that try to balance your family with this work. Otherwise, the wife will kick you out. And if she kicks you out, don't go to him because he also must be waiting outside his home. Thank you. Thank you.
And not only Meghal, Hemil, Amit, Rajesh, Nisarg, Karan, Jyotika, Dharmesh Bhai, all committee members, they have done a wonderful job. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone. I mean, this is great. And not to forget again, I will remind the cricket event. The cricket event arranged in 6 days' time and successfully arranged. Now that has motivated us to have a larger cricket event this year and larger conclave of one day in 2024. And with this team, I am confident we will do in very nice way and very brilliant way. Thank you everyone.
My apologies for forgetting. Can you hear me? My apologies for forgetting the managing committee. They are really doing very good job. I forgot.